California with a record of 4-2 against the University of Southern California. They are 3-2, trying to bounce back from last week's overtime loss at Washington State. And California, an incredible turnaround. Their 4 wins equal their win total the last 2 seasons. And California with the new coach, Jeff Tedford, what a remarkable job he has done. The offensive coordinator the last 3 years at Oregon, and much of what they do, Tom, is what the Ducks did under Mike Bellotti, both offensively and defensively.
Well, you know what a good student he was, Jeff Tedford. There's a look at him down on the sideline. And Steve, he does work with George Cortez, their quarterback coach and offensive coordinator, but 4-2 record after 1 win a year ago for the Cal program is quite a turnaround.
And there is Pete Carroll, 6-6 last year, 9-8 now at USC. But look at the 7 losses. They were by 7 or fewer points, and the other loss, that was to Notre Dame. And Pete Carroll's Trojans were within 1 of the Fighting Irish with 3 minutes to go. They have had the most aggressive schedule in college football this year. Ryan Killeen will kick off deep to LaShawn Ward, number 8, and number 21, Donnie McCluskey. It will be Ward at the 3. And LaShawn out past the 25-yard line to the 26-yard line. Let's take a look at our Kyocera starting lineups. First at quarterback, it will be Kyle Boller, who has thrown for almost 1,500 yards this year, but the touchdowns to interceptions dramatically improved from 1 year ago. His backs and receivers, Joe Igber, a talented running back, over 500 yards rushing this year. Macarthur and McConan are his go-to wide receivers. And the offensive line, Wilson, Tercero, the left side, that's their strongest. Wilson, a 3-year starter. Tercero, a 4-year starter. They start from the I formation, and Boller throws it right away, and USC's all over Jonathan McConan. That's the USC speed. And let's take a look at the Wild Bunch 2 at a defensive line. It's Adeze, Patterson, Cody, and Nazel, and they call them the Wild Bunch 2. You see Melvin Simmons is the outside linebacker, leads him in tackles with 30. Grudegood has 29. There'll be a big change in the secondary. The All-American Troy Polamalu is out. Jason Leach is in. And the corners will be tested by Kyle Boller. That's Buchanan and Rideau. Boller fires, and there's Swodoba, and Swodoba at the 30-yard line. They'll still need about another 5 or 6 yards.
And Steve, you mentioned, I think it's the speed of that SC defense that will cause problems for Cal. Melvin Simmons on that first play, number 51, he did a great job just in play recognition, going out to make the tackle. And you see where USC ranks in the Pac-10 standings: 1 in total defense, 1 in total pass defense, 2nd in score defense. They're 4th in the nation in total defense.
And Cal can score, averaging over 40 points per game. There's the option to Igber, and Igber close to a first down. The mark will be awfully important. Sean Cody making the tackle, the sophomore from Los Altos.
Well, this is a different wrinkle. Cal hasn't shown a lot of option, but they're going to take it, move down the line, pressure the corner a bit. Kyle Boller, nice flick. Left-handed out to Igber, and Igber just keeps climbing the career rush charts at Cal. He's 4th. He's behind guys like Chuck Muncie and guys like that. I mean, those big names. Russell White.
White has the most with 3,367, and Muncie and Jones in front of Igber, who has over 2,500 yards. It is a first down, so California will now change their fullback and bring in Chris Mandarino, the redshirt freshman from Newport Beach. But there's Kyle Boller from New Hall, California, out of Hart High School. He may have been the best prospect to come out of the San Fernando Valley since John Elway and Tom Ramsey. Well, I won't go into how many years ago.
You had to go way back for that, didn't you?
But you and Elway had grand battles. And Boller twists around, dives forward, gets back to the original line of scrimmage, but Mike Pollard, the middle linebacker, Rams, was right in his face.
Steve, what's amazing, watch them come up front. They're going to just rush the A-gap. Watch the hit that they put on Boller, though. It's a 3-step drop. Watch the hit. Wow, man, he gets drilled, but he doesn't go down. Mike Pollard came through that A gap on just a little delay blitz, and he snuck through. I mean, he hit Boller right up under the chin. And you see how strong and physical Boller is. He just shook him off and got back to the line of scrimmage.
Now 2nd and 10. They split Igber wide to the left side. Boller throws over the middle to his tight end for the first down inside Trojan territory to the 42. Tom Swodoba, the tight end. Well, Kyle Boller was the Kyocera Player of the Week because of his performance against Washington. The first win in Seattle since 1976. Boller 5 touchdown passes. He came away and he said, honestly, it's the best game I've ever played in high school or college. It was the best feeling to look up in the stands afterward and see my mom jumping for joy. There he is saying, Mom, that wins for you.
And Steve, not since the late, great Joe Roth in 76. Where Cal won 7-0 in that game.
Boller rips it to the right. And LaShawn Ward with the first down catch, but he has some kind of arm.
Well, what Jeff Tedford did when he got to Cal, Steve, he did put more emphasis on, hey, get the ball down the field. What he did was say, hey, take a little off the ball. Don't stride as far. Don't bring the ball down as far. And you see how fast that ball got out to LaShawn Ward. But he just kind of tightened down. It's like tightening a screw. He tightened down Kyle Boller's mechanics. So therefore, he's actually a stronger player now since he tightened up his release point.
And the quicker release, fewer sacks. Now Boller in trouble, and he will lose about 3 yards on the play. The tackle by Matt Grudegood, who is a very speedy linebacker out of Mater Dei High School in Santa Ana.
Steve, you mentioned a moment ago just about release points and mobility. What happens, they max protect here. SC is going to have great coverage. They always keep a safety in the middle. And I believe that might have been Jason Leach back for Southern Cal sitting in the middle of the field. But you're going to take a coverage sack once in a while. And you know what? Kyle Boller, senior guy, he'll take a sack. That's okay. Try to get back to the line of scrimmage. You got 2nd and 12.
Just don't turn the ball over. That has been their major difference from 1 year ago. And here goes Igber, the speedy running back from Honolulu, Hawaii. And he dances near the 20-yard line, gets him back within field goal range. William Buchanan, the cornerback, on the tackle.
And we just saw the graphic a moment ago. Only 7 sacks in the first 6 games. And Kellen Winslow mentioned that in the pregame as well, because that, to me, even though Boller won Player of the Week honors last week, I guarantee it, he's a team guy. He says, hey, you know what, my guys up front did it. But right now, 3rd and 5 for Cal. They're #1 in red zone offense in the conference. This is where they're at their best.
Igber, the lone setback. USC will bring 4. Boller with time, whips it to Igber. 1st and goal inside the 5-yard line. What a pass.
What a play call.
At the 3.
And you got to have the execution. Last night, Steve, Jeff Tedford, watch Igber out of the backfield. So I asked Jeff Tedford in the pregame, Jeff, what'd you tell your guys last night? He goes, Tom, we talked about competitive greatness. Seek it out. Don't fear it. And you know what? And he says, you know, I said, where'd you get that from? That's great. He goes, John Wooden's book. I said, that's okay. He goes, you got to get that book. I said, I'm going to get that book. I have the Pyramid of Success right on my desk.
He had to go with the Bruin. Now Igber sweeping right. Igber dives. Touchdown!
Touchdown, Golden Bears.
That is a great start. You have Kyle Boller 5 for 5 on this drive for 60 yards passing, and Igber, it seemed like, had at least 5-6 yards every time he ran the football.
Steve, here's a team who's dynamite in the first quarter and the first half. So effective in the red zone. They come into this game averaging over 40 points a game. And their scoring in the first half is remarkable. They get on top of people quick.
Now Jensen for the point after. Cal is up by 7 over USC. College Football Saturday on Fox Sports Net. We're here in Los Angeles, California, where The California Golden Bears have taken a 7-0 lead over USC. A beautifully executed 74-yard drive. Igber the final two, but you see Boller went 5 for 5, and this is Kyle's left hand. He has ice on it. I do not believe it was on the touchdown play. I believe it may have been on an option earlier.
It might have been on the hit he took from Mike Pollard. Right in the middle of that drive. He took a shot.
Now the kickoff. Herschel Dennis is going to bring it out. Herschel Dennis, the true freshman, made a big mistake. There is a flag down in the field, but it appeared that Marcel Allman was telling him to take a knee, but when you're 18 years old, sometimes the greatest cure is 19 experience.
What do you think Pete Carroll's telling him? When your teammate tells you to stay in the end zone.
Illegal block in the back on the receiving team. Penalties half the distance to the goal. First down.
Boy, that's a rookie mistake. But Pete Carroll goes, hey, look, if you're 8 yards deep or 7 yards deep, and especially when your teammate tells you to stop, you stop. Red means stop. Stop.
Particularly,
my kids know that. They don't drive.
And it is a senior talking to you.
Yeah.
A senior, Marcel Allman, talking with a freshman, Herschel Dennis. Dennis chose to come out, and now they must start their offense from way deep. And they will go to the running back, Sultan McCullough, and McCullough a short gain on the play. Let's check out our Kyocera starting lineups. There's Carson Palmer, over 1,300 yards passing this year, and he had a wonderful game last week with a season-high 381. Backs and receivers. Go-to receivers are Colbert and Kelly, each with over 20 catches this year. And on the offensive line, they need more violent people here. They're two nice guys from Southern California, but they believe they've got a great one in the future in that right tackle, Winston Justice, who goes 6'6", 305. He is a true freshman. Palmer will send Colbert in motion, and Carson going deep. Kareem Kelly has it knocked away beautifully by James Bethea.
I like the play call. Norm Chow, the offensive coordinator, told me before the game, Steve, you got to take advantage of Cal's defense. They'll stack 9 guys in the box. So what does that leave you? Opportunity to go downfield. The ball just a little short that time. Remember, Kareem Kelly's one of these 10-3, 10-4, 100-meter sprint guys. I mean, Carson could have put the ball a little further out, give him a little more opportunity. But right now, if you're SC, you got to get a first down. 3rd and 10.
He brings in the big 6'5" freshman Mike Williams. Palmer rolls away from trouble and completes the pass to Mike Williams. We thought he might go in his direction because even as a true freshman, he's becoming one of his go-to guys.
Mike Williams, the maturation process, Steve, of Mike Williams has really been remarkable.
Well, here is the defense that Carson Palmer will see on the line. There's Tully Banta-Cain, who has 19.5 career sacks. Watch out for him. And Wang Wu in the middle. Marcus Daniels is a 27-year-old middle linebacker, but the hitter is Wendell Hunter. And there are your cornerbacks. They'll make some changes there. Here's the pass to Mike Williams, and Williams gets another first down. He is big time. He reminds me a little bit of Reggie Williams, the impact he made for Washington last year.
Yeah, that's a great analogy, Steve. He does remind me as like Reggie Williams too. And they wear the same number 1. They're big, rangy type guys. Both guys from Florida too. Mike Williams, 55-yard touchdown catch last week against Washington State in the 4th quarter. And that, if they would have made the extra point, they would have won the game in regulation. But they missed the extra point. Game went into OT. Washington State snuck out. They won. I don't want to say they snuck out. They won.
Now Sultan McCullough for no gain. And you know, there are a lot of people in the USC family who want the Trojans to run the ball better. But Norm Chow was telling us yesterday, what we do best is throw. And what Cal does poorly is defend the pass. They're giving up almost 275 yards passing per game. He said, let number 3 create plays. He's our best player, Carson Palmer.
Yeah, and Steve, you touched on it earlier. The offensive line gets it going in the run game. They also have to protect you in the pass, but it's an attitude thing up front to rush the ball.
Here comes California. There's the screen. And running with the football was McCullough, a short gain.
But more importantly, going back to the conversation with Norm Chow, when we were talking to him, what's amazing is an offensive coordinator goes into every game saying, hey, look, I want to be balanced, okay? I want short third downs. I don't want 3rd and 8s. I want 3rd and 3s, because you can go to an easier play call list.
Kyle Boller jammed the middle finger on his left hand. You can see it's been heavily taped. Well, I tell you what, this is a guy who is very tough. We saw the punishment he took the last 3 years with the Golden Bears. How many times he was sacked, had hard hits, and he hung in there. Banta-Cain went from the end to the middle and rushes the passer, and here is the pass caught by Colbert. What hands he has.
Hey, just to pay it off on what I was saying, Steve, Norm Chow is going to call what the defense gives him. Right here, a conversion up top. Get by the corner. You get a little press by James Bethea. Carson Palmer puts the ball up high and away. Keary Colbert climbs the ladder, making a great play. But if the plays dictate on the field to throw the ball 60 times, SC will do that. If the play dictates them to rush the ball 50 times, they'll do that. Norm Chow will be resilient and call what needs to be called.
Malifo McKenzie now in the game as the fullback, and they throw it to him, and Malifo with a short gain. Malifo was seen at practice yesterday wearing an Angels cap to practice. He is a big fan, went to Capistrano Valley High School, and he wants to see the Angels beat the Twins today.
I bet you there's one other guy that wants that too, and he's sitting right next to me.
Hey, I'm a big McKenzie fan, and a big Angels fan too.
I'm starting to like the Angels again too. I went away now for a while. I admit it.
This drive started on their own 4-yard line. How about this? 4 wide out, no tight end. Lone setback is McCullough, and they'll run the draw. This is a speedy back, and McCullough gets the first down inside the 20.
Spectacular call that time by Norm Chow.
We are at the LA Memorial Coliseum, California, with a record of 4-2 against the University of Southern California. 3 wins, 2 losses. Steve Biziak, Tom Ramsey with you. And California going right down on a 74-yard drive on their first possession. Joe Igber taking it across from 2 yards out. That is the difference in the game. But USC starting their first drive from their own 4-yard line and marching right down the field. How about this? A little razzle-dazzle double option, and it is McCullough taking it to about the 18-yard line.
I like that play call too. We've seen some inventive play calls. We saw Kyle Boller run the option earlier. Malifo McKenzie running the option now for Southern Cal. Nice pitch too to Sultan McCullough. McCullough gets his helmet knocked off at the end by, I think it was Paul Ugenti. You see the numbers through 5 games on McCullough. 78 for 353, 4.5, 4 TDs. That's another sprinter. He can take it the distance anytime he touches the ball.
Williams goes in motion. Palmer with time, looking for Williams. Incomplete, no flag.
No flag, but really close to a flag, Steve. James Bethea all over Mike Williams. And, you know, I like where the ball was thrown, though, because it's to a point, the trajectory is to a point in the end zone where only Mike Williams can catch the ball. And he's a big target, rangy guy. Look at, well, you want to know how close football is. You know, that was about 6 inches away from his fingers. You turn on Sunday games in the NFL, and it's like 1 inch differential of completion or incompletion. 3rd and 8.
Palmer rifles it. Williams had it in his hands, and then coming through to strip it was Nnamdi Asomugha, the senior from Los Angeles, California. They've moved Asomugha from strong safety to cornerback. That is a big physical guy on a big physical receiver.
That's a great point, because they moved Asomugha a week ago to handle Reggie Williams from Washington. He did such a good job, Steve, against him. Leave him on Mike Williams this week.
Well, the kicking game cost USC a victory at Washington State last week. Now Ryan Killeen, who missed an extra point and a long field goal, narrowly,
barely
sends it through, and it's from 34 yards out. USC on the board. They are down 7-3. Your tax dollars hard at work. California, the #1 public institution in the country. This fall, get your NFL fix a day earlier with the most outrageous, unpredictable NFL pregame show you've ever seen. Introducing Michael Irvin, Tony Siragusa. There's Tommy Davidson, the funny guy. Pregame shows may never be the same, so start your NFL weekend the night before the kickoff with the NFL show presented by the U.S. Postal Service tonight after the game on Fox Sports Net. Ryan Killeen will kick off. And it only gets to the 18-yard line. And California has nice field position up near the 35-yard line.
Boy, that was an awfully short kick. Take a look at the defensive side of the ball, drawing some things up. Boller getting play call on the sideline from Jeff Tedford. Opening drive. Nice job. 5 for 5.
Absolutely perfect. He has thrown for 52 touchdowns in his career, just 2 behind the record holder, Pat Barnes, who had 54.
Hey, Steve, remember this, though, on that first drive, he took a couple sacks. But you know what? That's okay if you're going 5 for 5 on the drive.
And not only that, he didn't force the passes and turn it over like we saw California do in the past. Swodoba. This is a play right out of the Oregon playbook. How many times did we see that last year with Joey Harrington hitting Justin Peele?
Well, again, talking to Jeff Tedford before the game, I said, hey, you're probably going to boot a little bit more today because of the team speed of SC. And he goes, Tom, you know us pretty well, don't you? I said, well, now I've been working with you for about 4 or 5 years. So, but Jeff Tedford can break down a defense, Steve. I think reality speak here, I think Cal's going to have a tough time keeping Jeff Tedford. I think he's going to go on to the NFL. He's that qualified. He was a pro himself at the quarterback position. Here's a guy who knows offense, defense, special teams.
A challenge to the president in Berkeley?
Well, it's going to be a challenge to Steve Gladstone, the athletic director, who's about 3 doors down from us. I just think in time they're going to have a tough time. Remember Steve Mariucci, past history. You know, hey, Steve Mariucci, he was a 500 coach at Cal. I think he's done pretty well up at the Bay Area. Terry Donahue, the GM up at the San Francisco 49er organization. Mariucci's been there quite some time. He's one of the most tenured coaches in the NFL now. Doing a great job, as long as he can control his receiver.
Well, let's see how Boller does on 2nd and 10. USC will blitz from the corner, but from the other side, so Igber trying to get outside, and Joe somehow stays in bounds for the first down to the 40-yard line.
What a great run by Joe Igber. And you know, it reminds me of a story, Steve. We heard this from Tommy Holmoe, the coach of Cal last year. When he'd go to Hawaii to recruit Joe Igber, people in Hawaii say, hey, how's Joe doing? How's Joe doing? And it was always Joe. It's never Joe Igber. It's how's Joe doing?
They love him in Hawaii. I mean, he's the state record holder in rushing with over 4,000 yards and 56 touchdowns. But they said, more importantly, it was the kind of kid he is. I mean, he had a 4.0 GPA, and he was taking classes like conceptual physics. I can't even spell it. Here's the reverse, and running with that football, Vincent Strang, and Strang inside the 20 to the 11-yard line. More razzle-dazzle by Cal. 28 yards on the reverse.
Steve, watch the pursuit. Watch the pursuit. It goes, and then they catch. We were just talking about over pursuit, angles. All of a sudden, Strang taking off. Strang's over here, okay? But more importantly, watch Mike Pollard and watch all the flow go to the top of the screen. Strang's going to get the handoff, and then he just takes it around the corner. That's another great call.
Now first down. Boller, play action pass. Sends it to his receiver, McConan, and McConan is out of bounds inside the 5-yard line. For a Kyocera game break, let's go to our College Football Saturday studio with Chris Rose.
All right, guys, extra football at the Big House. Penn State scored a field goal on its first overtime possession, but Chris Perry and the Wolverines ends it. Second time in the last 3 games Penn State has lost in overtime. And, guys, I think, Joe Cobb, this is a tie.
Wow, there have been some big games today. Earlier we saw Miami barely survive. Barnsburg, Florida State. Florida State missed a field goal in the closing seconds. Hurricane remain unbeaten. Here's Joe Igber, and Igber stuffed at the 4-yard line. And this just in, Oregon beating UCLA 31-30. So Oregon, the number 7 team in the nation, still unbeaten.
Take a look. Sean Cody, he's right here, Steve. Sorry, I'm kind of losing my mind there on some circles. Sean Cody fights through a double team and then just levels Igber. I mean, that's great technique football right there by Sean Cody. Right now he's going to have to step up again, 3rd and 2. They can get a first down if they get to the 1-yard line here.
LaShawn Ward and Jonathan McConan are the receivers. Boller, he wants to run, cuts upfield, and he will at least get near the first down marker. They needed to get to the 1, and that is exactly where they will mark the football. It will either be 4th down in inches, or a 1st and goal.
SC reads the play, Steve. They do a great job recognition, but Boller, he's a pretty good runner. You know, he'll get awfully close to the spot. They're going to mark it 4th down. So if you're Cal, you call a timeout here? Yeah. All right, good idea.
Timeout on the field, 2 minutes and 47 seconds remaining in the first period. California with a 7-3 lead over USC. Tom Ramsey, how do you attack the USC defense?
Well, Steve, I told you a moment ago I'd spread them out, but right now Cal got 2 tights, 3 tight ends, but they split the back way out.
They run the option. There's Boller sneaking forward. He should get the first down.
He got the first down. He got the first down. He didn't get the touchdown, but you know what? You accomplished what you needed to. You got a first down inside the 1-yard line.
Well,
Interesting.
You just said you didn't think they would sneak because the strength of the USC defense is Patterson and Cody, those tackles.
No, I didn't think they would sneak, but what they end up doing, they end up optioning down the line of scrimmage. And you got Boller, you know, he's 6'3", 225. And Steve, Kyle Boller, his junior year of high school, I didn't even believe this. When I heard it, I said, hey, you know something? You were a high school safety your junior year. And he goes, yeah.
Mike Neal was the quarterback who went to Nevada.
He was a 6-foot guy. I said, how come I didn't get hit by the tall stick, man? And like all of a sudden you're 6'4".
He grew 9 inches from age 16 to 19. Late bloomer.
First down, Cal Bears. 4th down conversion, 6 of 8 this year. Now remember, this is a team that's scoring over 40 points a game, okay? They're gonna score some points. We talked about offensive firepower up on top of the show, and Steve, it's gonna be a game. Right now, the SC defense doesn't have the answers, but Cal's also had pretty good field position so far today.
138 yards total offense for California against the number 4 defense in the nation, USC. They run Terrell Williams, and he will score the touchdown for Cal. That's Williams' first touchdown this year.
Oh, Steve, the guys up front, Big Mark Wilson, the tackle, and the center, I tell you, he does a nice job. Ryan Jones. Ryan Jones gets his man. Oh, and the fullback had a great block. That was Hana Famuina. Hana Famuina, 6'0", 240-pound sophomore. He laid out a defender.
And the extra point just barely makes it through. It was hit and then tumbles across. Williams says, I got one. Terrell Williams was a big player last year, almost running for 700 yards in his true freshman season. A little quiet to start 2002, but scores his first on a 1-yard leap. Now the kickoff, and it is deep to the 20-yard line. Herschel Dennis this time just covers it. And unlike last time when USC had to drive from their own 4-yard line, he stays put.
Boy, the ball should never hit the turf. When it's popped up like that, it should never hit the turf because the ball could bounce crazy ways. Herschel Dennis did the right thing, though, just falling on top of it.
Don't make a mistake. You don't want to go to the sideline where Pete Carroll would be waiting for you.
Well, remember, Steve, about turnover margin here. This is where Cal thrives. You get people down in their own end. They're plus 13 in turnover margin, but they've gotten 70 points out of those turnovers, and that's why they're #1 in scoring offense in the Pac-10.
Now Sultan McCullough, and he is tackled at the 21-yard line. We talked with Carson Palmer about his feelings on the importance of today's game with California.
It's huge. In the Pac-10, since it's so tough every week, there's so many good teams. Every week is championship game. Every week is the biggest game of the season. And right now, with the way Cal's playing and we're coming off a loss, we need to get this game big time.
And with UCLA losing today, Rams, there are now 7 teams with 1 loss in the conference. Oregon wins. They are now 2-0. Washington State probably will win today. They were blistering Stanford last time we were checked. And the Cougars trying to go to 3-0. There goes Palmer. It is incomplete at the 40-yard line. And Carson takes a seat as he was belted. It'll be 3rd down.
Pretty significant. 7 teams in the conference with 1 loss. There was a good article written by the Sporting News writer Tom Deinert about the Pac-10 being the top conference in the country, Steve. And I haven't believed it until this year. And without question, up and down every team in the conference, there are no gimmies. Who do you schedule for your homecoming these days?
Look who's in last place. Oregon State's in last place, and they are really good. Cal showing blitz. Now they cross the linebackers and rush 4. And Palmer throws, and it's picked off. And then he fumbles, and it looks like USC will get it back.
Yep.
Jemeel Powell with the interception, but then Williams gets it back on a fine strip and recovery of the fumble.
Follow the bouncing ball. The ball gets tipped here. Right there, Lorenzo Alexander gets his big hands in the air. Jemeel Powell. Oh, Mike Williams, #1, was the guy who stripped #1, Jemeel Powell. Watch this. Oh, great camera right there. Mike Williams, the true freshman, Steve. How heady is that play?
Well, he's made some big plays.
Wow.
Big plays on that field goal drive, and now the biggest play for USC that results in a 1st down. Now they look to Keary Colbert, and they had the safety leaking over. Did Carson not see the safety?
No, I think he tried to squeeze the ball in. If we had a high 22 shot, I could show you what happened. They end up running outside here. They have a little just smash up the sideline, and they're just trying to get that hole. Sometimes we talk about in cover 2, Steve, on the sideline. There's a hole over there, and you can hit that hole. Ball was just defender came over, made a good play. Keary Colbert tried to go up.
Palmer, after a hot start, is 0 for his last 5. Now on 2nd down and 10, they decide to run the draw that is read beautifully by California. Man, the Bears play very well in the 1st half. Do you know what? They have outscored their opponents this year 156 to 41 now in the 1st half.
And Steve, I think, and I really believe this, their defense is fueled by the performance of their offense. When you score like that in the 1st half, your defense gains confidence.
3rd and 11, blitz on. Palmer picks it up, and down he goes at the 5-yard line. How about Cal's defensive coordinator, Bob Gregory? He's bringing them all the time.
Steve, and it's that offside will linebacker. Watch Matt Nixon. He's going to sneak in, and then he's going to get right in the A-gap. This is a great call because he ends up picking his spot. Bang! He's able to get through the line of scrimmage right up in between that center and guard gap, and they didn't account for number 47. They didn't account for him. He gets a sack, makes a great play.
That's the end of the 1st quarter with the score 14-3 Cal. You're watching College Football Saturday, presented by Kyocera on Fox Sports Net. Back at the LA Memorial Coliseum, California, with a 14-3 lead over USC. USC was a pick to win this game by a couple of touchdowns, but they are down by 11. And now the punt to the dangerous Jemeel Holloway. They kick it away, and Darryl Rideau right there to spot it at the 42. Our FedEx ground and air stats. You see Cal doing it, rushing the ball 59 yards and passing 81 to USC 65. So they've almost doubled their offense.
And that number's got to improve for USC, Steve. The rush yards have it only 7. You got it, even though, you know, it's working. The passing is working. It's the defense stopping Cal. And right there, the guy, Troy Polamalu, the All-American, missing today's game due to a high ankle sprain. And what a different team they are without him. I asked Pete Carroll, how do you supply the leadership that you had? And you don't.
Well, Troy Polamalu was hurt last week in a real weird play. He almost just right here, watch him come up and just turn the leg over. The high ankle sprain, he had to come out of the game. And Pete Carroll said he is responsible for so many things we try and do defensively. Well, and it eliminates certain defenses.
He's the quarterback on defense. He makes all the checks. He positions people. Plus, he plays like Ted Hendricks used to play with the old Oakland Raider defense. He moves all over the field, Steve, and has the leniency to blitz when he feels he can blitz and make a play. And about 99 times out of 100, he's right. So it's not guesswork.
He is a violent football player. Hits you with his whole body. Second down. Boller back. Blitz from Rideau, the corner. And Boller just throws it away wisely because Rideau showed like he was going to cover and then just ripped towards Boller.
That's a great play by Boller, even though it's an incomplete. You said it. He ends up, that's his first incompletion. And we're, 14-17 in the second quarter, what's left. And great play because he did see Rideau break on the ball. And you know what? Don't even think about throwing an interception. You just got it in the dirt, and that's okay. 3rd and 8 now for Cal. We haven't heard of Jonathan McConan. And McConan, Steve, is going to be the player up on top of the screen right there, number 5.
And he is in single coverage, and somebody moved in that offensive line on the right side. Cody came through, but I believe he was drawn off. There's Sean Cody, wears an SC on his right bicep for his university and for his initials.
Dead ball. Ball start. Offense. Penalties 5 yards. Remains 3rd down.
That is David Kataya, who doubles as a police officer in Northern California. Now Boller facing a 3rd and 13.
Some of Northern Cal's finest, you're saying.
Absolutely.
McConan's down here at the bottom of the screen. Keep an eye on number 5.
Boller just letting it go. Broken up. Intended for LaShawn Ward, who is their best deep threat. Fine coverage by the redshirt freshman William Buchanan. And William Buchanan is an interesting story, number 31, who's the cornerback. Let's take a look at him again.
That's a great matchup, Steve. You see Buchanan get the long arms on him, though. He was able to get LaShawn Ward right at the line of scrimmage. He ended up putting his hands up, got on him, and slowed him up just a little bit.
William Buchanan, a nice play. His father was the great all-pro in the NFL, who is not here. He's made all the games until today, but he is not here because he's having his number retired by San Diego State in their game against Utah. So that's what Pop has to be. Greg Carlson on the punt return, 47 yards in the punt, 8 on the return. USC's football when we come back. It's California by 11 over number 20 USC. October's magical matchups continue tomorrow with a doubleheader LCS action. First, it's Game 5 of the ALCS between the Twins and the Angels. Then it's Game 4 of the NLCS between the Cardinals and the Giants. It's all part of a full weekend of magical matchups as critical NFL games and dramatic baseball playoff action take center stage only on Fox. Here is Carson Palmer, and he fires over the middle. It is broken up, incomplete. For a Kyocera game break, let's go to our College Football Saturday studio with Chris Rose.
All right, guys, I smell a theme developing. Miami and Florida State decided on wide left. Same with UCLA and Oregon. Chris Griffith, and no good from 46 yards out, so the Ducks have won a school record 11 straight. And Red River Shootout goes to Oklahoma. For the third straight year, Quentin Griffin, a career-high 238. Guys, back to you.
Wow.
They can run. They lose their starting quarterback, and Quentin goes 38. Are you kidding me? How about the Sooners and Stoops? Here goes Mike Williams, and Williams looks like he has enough for the first down out of bounds near the 35-yard line.
How about Oregon and UCLA? 40, 45 plus points. I mean, coming down to a field goal. You know, I think in the last
kickers who have won or lost games recently.
You know, in the last 3 years, though, that game, the Oregon UCLA game, I want to say I read it 121 points versus 121 points. Cumulative points. I mean, you talk about close games every year. They knew they were going to play another one today.
Well, we expect a good one here, and USC down by 11. California with touchdown runs from Igber and Terrell Williams. And now Sultan McCullough flashes forward for about a 6-yard gain to the 40. It'll be second down and 4 yards to go. McCullough closing in on 400 yards rushing this year.
Steve, you mentioned Winston Johnson. Watch this player right here on the snap of the ball and watch what he does. He ends up, he takes, boy, those are like dominoes falling over there offside of the ball, away from the football. But that's how important those backside tackles are, because that's what opens up cutback lanes and allows runners to get that extra yardage with just a great play on the offside ball.
So now Justice lines up right tackle. Palmer to McCullough, and McCullough a short gain. Palmer, you know, we were talking about magical matchups. Carson Palmer was really hitting up Tim Tessalone, the sports information chief here at USC, for Angel tickets to tomorrow's LCS playoff game. Palmer, a big Angels fan. He says he just wants to get in the building.
Well, yeah, I'd hit you up. That's who I'd hit up. How does Tim Tessalone have Angel tickets? You're the guy that has the keys to the stadium down there.
But they changed the locks.
Yeah.
It is third down and 2. Palmer firing, intercepted. The second interception of Carson Palmer in this game. Jemeel Powell with his second pick of the game. This time he does not fumble.
Steve, Jemeel Powell, they're going to call a face mask at the end of the run, trying to bring down Jemeel Powell. But Jemeel Powell breaks on the ball so fast and so hard, it's scary. It really is. And he's a senior. Watch, Carson ends up making his reads. He comes back, doesn't have his feet with him.
On the return, personal foul, face mask. On the defense, penalties 15 yards for the end of the run. First down.
Keary Colbert tried to sit it down, Steve, but you know what happened? Keary Colbert drifted down the field on Carson Palmer. He ends up drifting. Jemeel Powell comes right in, makes his 5th interception of the year.
You know, Norm Chow, when we asked him keys to victory, he said cut down on the mistakes. Yeah. We had a 1st and goal at the 9-yard line through an interception last week against Washington State. That cost him. And here's Igber on the screen. Igber dances inside the 17-yard line where he's hauled down there. They'll need another 4 yards. Powell had 2 big interceptions 2 years ago. Third overtime versus UCLA to beat the Bruins, and in the 4th quarter in their win over USC. He has been a big game player. Now, Joe Igber, who's only 5'8", or is it 5'7", or is it 5'6"?
I don't know. The guy plays with the heart of a lion, so it doesn't matter how tall he is. Steve, how do you neutralize a real good defensive line? You run screen, you run draw, you run some misdirection, bootleg, because you want to stay away from Sean Cody and Kenichi Udeze, some of the great players up front for USC.
Powell trying to go up 21-3. Boller, end zone, touchdown, Jonathan McConan.
What a throw. What a throw. Talk about the scoring machine of the Cal Bears. Their red zone offense, this is as good as any team I think I've ever worked. And you know, granted, I mean, Jeff Tedford, the offensive coordinator, the last 3 years up at Oregon, and they had some spectacular games up there. Should have been in the BCS championship game a year ago, in fact, but got slighted. And They went ahead and put it on the Colorado Buffaloes in that Fiesta Bowl, but Tedford's a guy with the playbook.
Jensen's point after touchdown puts Cal up by 18 over number 20 USC.
Who's going to invent the next?
That's the old Santa Monica Pier. That's where Tom Ramsey grew up with the surfboard. And that's why he still has that lump on the
A little
back
further
of his
south,
head.
my friend. South Bay.
McConan and Boller hooked up again, and for Jonathan McConan, that's his 5th touchdown reception from Powell this year. Out comes USC. And Herschel Dennis still on his feet, dancing past the 20-yard line. There is a flag down, and USC making one more mistake. Boller comes to the sideline every time and puts ice on that left hand. He jammed the middle finger on his left hand on the first drive, but it has not interrupted his success as he's led his team to 2 more touchdowns and drives.
There was a flag on that return. We'll wait. See what
During the
ref
return,
has.
illegal block in the back on the receiving team. Penalties half the distance to the goal. First down.
You know what I was getting? My observation, Steve, on Herschel Dennis, boy, he's resigned to return the ball on a kickoff, isn't he? Watch, great play action. Tries to get a block on Mike Pollard, gets him down on the ground, and then Boller just throws a bullet to McConan. I mean, catches him right at the back of the end zone, and guess who he matched up against? Jason Leach. Jason Leach playing for Troy Polamalu. Cal takeaways. Look at that. 21 this season, and that's the important stat right there. 77 points off the turnover.
Now USC starts with very poor field position again. Palmer going deep. Keary Colbert incomplete. And again, fine defense by Jemeel Powell, who already has 2 interceptions in this game.
You know, when guys through the course of the game, Steve, a guy like Jemeel Powell, all of a sudden he's got 2 picks. You know, this game, Carson Palmer, the number is 5 of 14, 65 yards. But you know, here's a kid, Jemeel, Sarah High School, Los Angeles. He's feeling it. You know, I mean, he's stepping up to that competitive greatness that Jeff Tedford talked about. It looked like he hurt himself, too, on the last play.
Well, he comes out. Palmer has thrown 8 straight incompletions after starting this game 5 for 6. They can't run. I'll tell you, the Cal defense is very strong against the run. They held Washington to only 42 yards total on 28 carries last week. It's a yard and a half.
And Steve, Watt, you're going to see there's a player right over here, Donnie McCleskey, number 21. He's just outside the screen, but he ends up, Malifo McKenzie whiffs on him. And Donnie McCleskey, the true freshman, Bishop Amat High School, another Southern California school, local product. And what's interesting, McCleskey went to the same high school as Jason Leach, the strong safety today for USC.
Now another 3rd and long to Palmer. In trouble. And they almost had it picked off. This time he threw it in the ground just in front of Donnie McCleskey.
Well, and you know what? People are going to boo. And they're going to say, you know, 3rd and forever. You know, what kind of throw was that? Well, the reality, you know, on 3rd and 15 out of your own end zone, and you're not getting protection, as he's over there conferring with Steve Sarkisian, the quarterback coach, there's not a lot to do. And
No,
especially when you're not getting the protection.
You have 40 and a half minutes left in this ball game. This is far from over, but it is a surprising 21-3 Cal lead.
And Steve, last time a short punt by Malone. We'll see if Jemeel Powell catches it. Possible big return.
Powell, the most dangerous return artist in the Pac-10 conference. Burned USC last year for a punt return for a touchdown. At midfield, Cal will have outstanding field position. And Powell is driven down at the 42-yard line.
Took the punt from the 49.
Well, Cal trying for their 4th straight win, something they haven't done since 1923. In 1996, this was the year that Cal had Pat Barnes to Tony Gonzalez for a 22-15 lead. Then a great Cal comeback, down 21 points, and Marcus Fields with the final touchdown for a 32-31 Cal win. In 2000, it was Powell, 83-yard punt return for a 28-16 victory. And once again, if Cal beats USC today at the Coliseum, it will be the first time since the early 1920s that the Bears would have a 4-game road winning streak over the Trojans. 79 years since 23. LaShawn Ward on the reverse, and very short game as Good on the tackle.
Boy, Steve, those are some amazing stats. Check out LaShawn Ward. You mentioned it earlier. He's the fastest guy in the Cal Bears, and why not? Why not hand him the ball? Put the ball in his hands, but Good, that is a great play. Great pursuit. Hard to outrun SC. They're awfully fast, but you end up a double reverse might work. Get them pursuing one way and go the other.
USC needs a big play by their defense. Boller all kinds of times. Now he'll scramble and run. And Boller will get the first down.
Nice play.
They rolled the pocket, and nobody could get to him.
Well, and coming into the game, we knew this, that they were protected well, but more importantly, it's hard to blitz Cal. It's hard to blitz Oregon. Neil Zambucas, the great line coach for Oregon, well, I guarantee you, Cal has a great line coach too. Jim Mahalchik, Steve, used to coach offensive line for Dennis Erickson up at the Oregon State Beavers, and Mahalchik is one of these guys who understands turn protection, zone protection. You don't get your quarterback hit. You move the launch point all the time. Well, guess what? Tedford, Mahalchik, they connect like, you know, you and I do. And
thank you very much.
Thought I'd state that for the record.
But Jonathan Giesel, who's the injured player, and here's Cal's first 4 possessions.
And they end up making the offense sing. And I'll tell you what, when you're averaging, averaging 40 points per game, big number. And Cal right now doing great things on offense.
How important is this guy to their defense? They gave up 30 in a loss to Washington State last week, and they've been ripped for 21 in the first half. This is a USC defense with Polamalu that only averages 15 allowed. And they've given up 174 yards on offense, but this is an 11-man game, so USC must pick it up. McCormick and LaShawn Ward. Boller drops the football. Good looked like he was the first one there. The scrum continues in the battle for the football, and I don't know how they can make an indication here.
You got to start. I thought SC recovered it, and once a couple players start waving. Omar Nazel.
It is USC football, and that is a big turnover.
Hey, Steve, watch the play here, because what's interesting, they do a decent job protecting Boller. And Boller, watch, he's going to drop back here, and he's trying to get the ball from here down to here. But more importantly, just watch McConan, because when he's running, he's going to stumble right here. And when he stumbles, Boller pulls the ball down, because they had him. Look, all of a sudden he stumbles, but he was wide open. Boller pulls the ball down, gets hit, ball comes out, SC recovers.
Now 1st and 10 for USC. Play action pass, Palmer throws, oh my, it was into the hands of Kareem Kelly, but there was Nnamdi Asomugha, and if Asomugha gets there maybe just a fraction of a second earlier, he picks it and he's gone.
Well, talk about closing speed once again. Watch Kareem Kelly. Usually guys play off it pretty far with a pretty big cushion, and Nnamdi Asomugha, that's great closing speed, Steve. He used to be a stellar free safety, and when you're able to play positions and move around like that, be able to play free safety and then corner, needless to say, your stock goes up at the next level, and he will be a player at 6'2", 210 pounds.
Palmer rolling away from trouble. Now the protection erodes, and Carson scrambling away from trouble, going downfield for Mike Williams. First down at the 28-yard line.
You know, I hear it all the time. People always say, Tom, why do you like Carson Palmer so much? Why do you like, well, you know what? This is the reason. The great athleticism, strength, mobility, and then having the ability to throw on the run. And he finds Mike Williams down the heart of the defense. Steve, 32-yard gain for Cal, and they're sitting on the plus 30.
That was a big turnover if USC can end this possession with points. They're down 18. McCullough inside the 25-yard line to the 23. Fox NFL Sunday returns this weekend when JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy get you ready for kickoff. This week you'll hear from Brett Favre and his new brand of receivers to see how the Packers have gotten off to such an explosive start. Plus JB talks with the Redskins head coach Steve Spurrier and quarterback Patrick Ramsey to discuss why Ramsey is the new starter in D.C. Fox NFL Sunday returns this week, followed by exciting NFL action as most of you see the Packers take on the Patriots or the Panthers battle the Cowboys. Here's McCullough again, ripping for the first down. He needed to get to the 19, got just enough.
Patrick Ramsey is the real deal, man. That guy, he's got an arm unlike Tom Ramsey. He's got a good arm. Kyle Boller really, he took that shot on that very first drive, Steve, and I think it might have been when the middle linebacker, Mike Pollard, just hit him right up under the chin strap, and even though he was able to shake Pollard off, you see the problems he's got over on the sideline. Hasn't affected him the rest of the way, though.
Running the 2 touchdown drives after the injury. Now McCullough flashing through to the 10. He is down to the 6-yard line, and Powell with a touchdown-saving tackle.
Steve, I think the offensive lineman hurt you. I think someone went over there and said, hey, we need some push, but watch the start-stop ability of Sultan McCullough. He ends up, he's able to just kind of settle it as he goes through the hole, and then as soon as it opened up for him, man, he hit the accelerator. 2,383 career rush yards, and that's a mighty list he's climbing, because there are big names on there. Charlie White, Marcus Allen,
Now from the 6-yard line, it is first and goal. McCullough, not much. This time the left side of that line was there to meet him, including Marcus Daniels, the middle linebacker, and number 90, Josh Gustavson.
Gustavson coming off talking to Ronnie Delgado, Steve, the defensive line coach. And I thought, once again, Tedford doing a great job of hiring the right people for his team, but right now SC's getting ready to punch it in. 2nd down and goal.
They spread him out, but Palmer can also run option. He will throw. And he has his man fumbling it at the goal line, and Cal recovers, but they say he never had possession. It is incomplete. 3rd and goal.
Wow. You know, boy, things happen fast in football. And watch this. Great angle. Ball comes out nice. Mike Williams, does he have it? No, he never had possession. Guess who's riding him on his back? That's right, number 1, Jemeel Powell. Watch this. Powell comes and just swats, tomahawks the ball. Steve, ball comes out. 3rd down for the Trojans.
Blitz. Palmer picks it up. Has to roll away. Now with time. Kareem Kelly, touchdown.
Hey, Steve, was that play reminiscent? That was like a little Joe Montana-esque to Dwight Clark. Of course, not the magnitude, but that was kind of a cool play.
He just escaped. It is a touchdown, but there is a player down in the field for USC. It is offensive lineman Jacob Rogers.
Watch the mobility again, having the ability to throw on the run. Look at a tight ball. Kareem Kelly. Oh,
he didn't catch it.
Oh, my. Well, if you're in the NFL, the hanky comes out. It's a replay, and that is conclusive evidence. But guess what? College football, there is no replay, so the points will stay on the board. Touchdown SC. Jacob Rogers
He's an honorable mention all Pac-10. 11 starts last year.
My dear friend Jim Taboni right there. Orthopedic surgeon for many years. Used to take care of me. I'm in such good shape now. I don't need a doctor. Yeah, right. Palmer, nice bullet on the run, but watch it hit. Watch it hit. Oh, goodness. But watch, Kareem Kelly, when he comes up, look at him. He shows the ball to the ref. Hey, I got it. And he's taught well. And it's a touchdown, even though it's not. It's a touchdown.
This is LA. This is Hollywood. So acting is perfect. And Emmy goes to Kareem Kelly. He sells the touchdown, and USC is within right now 12. They can make it 11, and the kick is good by Killeen, and the Trojans right back in this game. When we return, we'll send you back to Chris Rose at our College Football Saturday studio with a preview of our Nissan halftime report.
Coming up on the Nissan halftime report, I'll be joined by Kellen and Artie with all the scores and highlights. Coliseum with Steve and Tom. And Steve, you like the Angels tonight?
I like the Angels and John Lackey. Brad Radke will be on the mound for the Minnesota Twins.
Come on, you're doing play-by-play for football. You can't do play-by-play for baseball at the same time.
Ryan Nettles, our stage manager, and I were at the
Hammer time
last night, and Edison Field is spectacular.
Hammer time. Just hammer.
45,000 people.
Work?
It's going wild.
Did you guys work?
Hey, we were with our fans.
It was Friday.
There you go. Well, USC within 11. Meantime, the Cardinals beat the Giants, so that series is 2 victories to 1.
I'll take a look at the USC Nissan scoring drive, Steve. 8 plays, 66 yards, 335. Remember, a couple big plays by Carson Palmer. That one on 3rd down to Mike Williams that gutted that Cal defense. That was the big play of the drive. And then, of course, the touchdown throw, and Kareem Kelly doing a great job just pulling the ball up and showing the ref. That was half the play.
And you wonder how Boller will get that snap from center cleanly throughout this game with the damaged left hand. He's back to work, and here comes USC pressing. Boller whips it to his receiver, and with the catch, LaShawn Ward for the first down.
Well, what you're seeing are 2 very effective, highly effective quarterbacks at the college level, and each have had their share of struggles, Steve. The reality is Kyle Boller have suffered some in previous years. This year he's playing spectacular.
They have taped his index finger to his middle finger.
And then Carson Palmer on the other side of the coin, he's also had struggles, but playing spectacularly. These are 2 future high NFL draft picks, and I think you're going to see a lot of battles between these guys on Sundays to come.
Boller 10 of 12 passing in this game. Now he gives it to Igber, and he is wrapped up. Quickly to him was Sean Cody, the sophomore from Los Altos, a high school All-American.
Boy, I tell you, right now that SC defense starting to tighten up, Steve, and that front 4, Kenichi Udeze, Mike Patterson, Sean Cody, 84. These guys, Omar Nazel, that's a lot of lumber up front right there. Cody's 280, Patterson's 290. BKU, Udeze goes about 290.
Play action. Screen. Swodoba was there, and he's wrapped up again. This time Marcel Allman, the senior nickelback from Santa Fe Springs, California.
Well, there's one of those plays, it's second and 10, right? So what you try and do, you just want to pick up a portion of it. You don't want to go after the whole 10 yards, but they didn't pick up that much that time. They only picked up 2, 3. 3rd down and 8. Tell you, the happiest guy at Cal, besides Kyle Boller, you know who I'm going to say, don't you? Tom Swodoba, the tight end, who just caught the ball. He had never caught a touchdown. Cal's got to call timeout.
4 minutes and 9 seconds remaining in the first half. California by 11.
And why do I say Swodoba? Because he never caught a touchdown until this year, Stephen. He's caught 3 this year.
Well, there's the injured player for USC, Jacob Rogers. He has a sprained knee. And so Rogers, with the sprained right knee, will come out of the game. Let's take a look at the bottom of your screen.
I had a player roll up on him.
that will hurt because they are not deep on that offensive line. You're talking about a guy, Jacob Rogers, who was playing well. Honorable mention all Pac-10 last year. Well, here is our website question. You can go on to foxsports.com on Lycos. Should a head coach be fined for recruiting violations that result in probation? You know, California is not bowl eligible because they're on probation, but they are appealing, and there will be a November 8th decision. Well, and Jeff Tedford is hoping it is positive.
Right, and the bowl probation was only a 1 year. It's only a 1 year.
Probation's 5 years, and the bowl suspension was 1 year.
Exactly, and that is on appeal.
College Football Saturday presented by Kyocera returns to Fox Sports Net next week with a Big 12 doubleheader. First, Nebraska takes on Oklahoma State. Then either the third-ranked Texas Longhorns battle Kansas State, or 11th-ranked Iowa State squares off against Oklahoma State. Here we go, third down and long. Boller rips it, and it is broken up. It will be fourth down, and USC will get the football with 4:05 remaining in the first half. What a turnaround.
And Steve, we've talked about the Cal DBs right there. Marcel Almond, number 8, former wide receiver, was the one that closed on the ball that time and broke up the play. Almost came away with a pick. Bring on Tyler Fredrickson.
He's one of the top punters in the Pac-10 Conference, averaging 40 yards per boot. Carlson, sure-handed one, brings it back past the 20, and he is down at the 24-yard line. 46 yards in the punt, 5 on the return.
Nice play by Mike McGrath, one of the gunners, Steve. He got down there, laid out, dove, ends up making a really nice play on a special teams ball, and at least where it looked like SC might have a return there, because it looked like Fredrickson might have outkicked the coverage. McGrath down there on fire to make the hit and the tackle.
And that's another theme of importance that California brought from Oregon, because we've seen Pac-10 football the last 10 years, Rams, and the Ducks have the best special teams defense in the game. Palmer to McCullough. McCullough past the 30, out near the 33-yard line. All of a sudden, Sultan's he's past 50 yards rushing in this ball game.
Well, Sultan McCullough is one of those guys. He's a bit of a rhythm guy too. As Carson Palmer is a bit of a rhythm guy, Sultan McCullough is a rhythm guy. All of a sudden, he's carried the ball 14 times for 51 yards. Second team All Pac-10 2 years ago. And he can carry the lumber the whole way.
One of the fastest in the country, and here he goes again, ripping forward and spinning for a first down to the 40-yard line. 3:13 left in the first half. At one time, Cal was up 21-3. California against number 20 USC at the LA Memorial Coliseum. Steve Physioc and Tom Ramsey. This is the 90th meeting between these two schools. Storied history dates back to 1915. USC leads 55, 29, and 5. But California has won the last 3 on the road in LA. This time McCullough goes nowhere, and he's dropped at the 35-yard line.
Steve, one of the guys who played so well a week ago in the win up in Seattle is that guy right there, number 13, Calvin Hosey, 6'4", 235-pound senior. And you know, one of the things Jeff Tedford did acquire when he was named head coach of this team, there's a lot of veteran players. There's a lot of guys who played a lot of snaps, not necessarily in the right positions all the time, but a lot of snaps.
16 starters returned from last year's 1 and 10 season. That can be both good and bad. Now here goes Palmer, and he completes the pass to Mike Williams. You know, isn't it amazing that you have a guy like Kareem Kelly, who's a senior, another junior in Keary Colbert, but when he has needed a big play, he goes to an 18-year-old true freshman.
Well, Mike Williams has superstar written all over him. Watch throws a little double move, and then comes right back to the ball. See how he breaks to the sideline, Steve, and ends up coming back down the line of scrimmage, or down the sideline, working back to the football, and you give your quarterback an angle. Mike Williams, 6 catches, 112 yards a week ago versus Washington State. And Steve, you know what I'm sensing right now? The USC sideline is kind of looking at number 3, kind of looking at Carson Palmer, like, hey buddy, need you to make a play now. And you know what? Talk about pressure. This guy's carried pressure for 4 years. Steve Sarkisian might be his best benefit, the man who just tapped him on the chest, Pete Carroll there, but Sarkisian was a great quarterback at BYU, played under Norm Chow, played in the system, understands all the subtleties to it, now working with Carson Palmer.
Palmer all kinds of time, rifles it to Keary Colbert, and Colbert dives forward for another first down. And I don't know if there was another quarterback in the game that, maybe Eli Manning with his family's history, who had more pressure. Carson Palmer, everybody's All-American at Santa Margarita High School. And I don't think he had the surrounding people. He's had 3 different offensive coordinators in his stay here. But you have just praised his wonderful talent through the years. But sometimes potential means always having to say you're sorry. If love means never having to say you're sorry, then potential means always having to say, I'm sorry, I didn't throw for 500, I only threw for 400.
Steve Bizyak, adjunct philosopher.
There is Matt Nixon on the sack. The second sack of Carson Palmer today.
Okay. Historian, statistician, philosopher.
Angel fan.
Meteorologist. You've done it all in the first 5 weeks of the season.
It is 21-10. USC with the lead coming up on the Nissan halftime report. Chris Kellen and Artie. It is rivalry weekend throughout college football. How did Miami, Florida State, and Oklahoma and Texas do? Check it out with Chris and the guys. And baseball playoffs. Right now, the Giants losing to the St. Louis Cardinals today by 1 run, and the Angels, they have started their game with the Minnesota Twins. Well, here is Cal's defense that has improved dramatically from last year.
Boy, Steve, and they've brought pressure. That was Matt Nixon on the blitz. It took down Carson Palmer. There's Jemeel Powell on the interception, and watch Donnie McCleskey, the true freshman, number 21, knights through, makes a great play. But Steve, right here, this guy, Big Ronnie Delgado, J.D. Williams right there, a former first-round NFL draft pick, 4 Super Bowls with the Buffalo Bills. He's getting the extra conversation there, right there with James Bethea. J.D. was at Fresno State under Pat Hill. Wonder why their DBs were so good? Wonder why Cal's DBs are so good? Hello.
They have an attitude, and that is why Carson Palmer said they will take chances. They're very aggressive, and we have to attack those corners. Here comes Palmer. He has his man, Alex Holmes, for the first time in the game for a first down. It looks like Palmer's back in a rhythm because he had thrown 8 straight incompletions. Now he's back and driving that team down the field.
Well, a little bit. And both these offenses, both SC and Cal, the tight end does factor in. And all of a sudden he becomes an outlet. Sometimes he's the featured guy, but a lot of times he's the number 2 or number 3 progression in the read. And right there, that's Carson Palmer just working through the play, working through the progression, getting the ball to the open guy.
And he has now completed 6 of his last 7 passes. 1:26 remaining in the first half. This was a USC team that was down by 18 at one point. They can cut that gap to 4. They can cut to 3 with a 2-point conversion. But first they need the touchdown. But this is a marvelous comeback in the first half.
Well, I think if you're SC right now, Steve, you want to find a bit of a mismatch. And so far in the first half, the guy I'm seeing
Mike Williams
is Mike Williams, the dominant guy as a go-to guy. Now it's where you line him up, because I guarantee you, I haven't looked at all the stats from the first half, and every time Mike Williams is lined up inside, who's covered him? When he lined up at split end, who's covered him? But I guarantee you, Norm Chow knows this stuff, and he's in the booth right next to us, and he's saying, okay, look, if we put Mike Williams and put him in motion, we're going to get this kind of coverage. Okay, Carson, him. If you get cover 2, come backside, work the inside route, and maybe it's Keary Colbert right now.
You know who I also like? Malifo McKenzie, and McKenzie is going to be in the slot on the right side.
McKenzie's right here, Mike Williams up top.
He's going up top to Mike Williams, and Williams, oh almost makes a remarkable catch at the 3-yard line. Then Burt Watts comes over from his free safety spot and makes sure he can't hang on.
So what they had a conversion route up top. He got press coverage. And you know what a great play by Asomugha. Steve, that's a great play because Mike Williams thought he was going to get jammed right off the line. And Asomugha didn't touch him. He just ran with him. And Mike Williams didn't get up the field as much as he wanted.
Watts almost got the pick on the tip. Now 2nd and 10. Blitz on. Palmer steps up, fires. Incomplete, intended for Keary Colbert.
Carson Palmer saying, break it off. That's a skinny post. You got the open field. Keary Colbert kept running. He never broke the route for him. Oh man, that's a mental mistake there by the wide receiver, because you got to snap off a skinny post. Carson Palmer hits his 5th step. Ball should come out. He had to hesitate. Right now you got 3rd and 10. You got to get a 1st down. Keep an eye on Mike Williams up top of the screen. SC 3rd for 8 today.
Jemeel Powell is covering him, but Watts is going over to double him. They throw inside to Williams. Williams breaks free. Touchdown USC.
And they will continue to find ways to get him the ball.
Powell had him played to the outside.
Well, because he had the help inside. Like you said, Burt Watts comes over. He says, okay, I got a little help inside. Well, guess, oh, what a great play by Mike Williams. Oh, your offensive guys aren't supposed to be tough guys like that. Oh, my. Mike Williams drilled him.
So many great receivers in USC history like Keyshawn Johnson, Lynn Swann, Curtis Conway, Johnny Morton. Is Mike Williams the next big star at USC? Already a terrific game with 5 catches and 100 yards and a touchdown.
I'd say so. 3-step drop by Carson Palmer. No risk of a sack. But, Steve, when he released off the line of scrimmage and he drilled the defender, you know what that sends a message? It sends a message, don't mess with me.
Well, Palmer has 2 touchdown passes, but let's go back to the touchdown that wasn't. The catch by Kareem Kelly where he trapped it. Williams so strong.
The touchdown that wasn't, but in actuality, it was. Kelly, ball ends up hitting the turf, and sure enough, but watch, when he comes up, he shows it to the ref. Points stay on the board. Yeah. Burt Watts, number 19, he knew it. He saw it the whole way.
Kind of like baseball. If it's not in the strike zone and the umpire calls it a strike, it's still a strike.
Right, no flag, no instant replay.
Nope. 178 yards and a terrific comeback by Carson Palmer. He had 2 early interceptions, and now he's come back with 2 second-quarter touchdowns, and USC within 4 of California. Mike Williams cleaning his visor. I think he's seeing the ball pretty well.
And Steve, remember this. The kickoff is short. Okay, so Cal gets the ball, relatively short. Cal gets the ball at the -27. There's a 1:06 on the clock. Cal, 1 timeout left. Jeff Tedford has his group right here, and they all run onto the field at the same time, but you still got a lot of time.
And you know what? Jeff Tedford is a gutsy coach. He's saying, we were 1-10 last year.
Yeah,
let's go for it. Look, what do we have to lose?
Well, they got LaShawn Ward one-on-one up top. He's the receiver up top.
They run Igber. Igber sliding free for about 7 yards up to the 33-yard line. And there is an injured player down. Looks like Sean Cody, the USC defensive lineman, who has been so strong in this first half.
Boy, a guy you really can't afford out of the game, because the loss of Troy Polamalu, such a big loss last week. There's a look at Polamalu, who hurt his ankle against Washington State, high ankle sprain, and Sean Cody has played just stellar football at defensive tackle for SC.
They have two outstanding sophomore defensive tackles in Cody and Mike Patterson. This is an area they do have some depth. Bernard Riley, who's a senior, can come right back in, right in the middle of your screen.
Right there. Boy, you know, I tell you what, the trenches, you know, and it's all 300-pound guys. Cody, another local product.
To Los Altos High School.
Another great program.
And Ed Orgeron, who's their defensive line coach, said he is the kind of player you build around.
Boy, Pete Carroll is probably sitting over there saying, I can't believe my two best defensive players week after week have to go out of the game. They get great care by the medical staff. But awfully tough. You'd expect Bernard Riley to come in against, again, you know, to lose a guy like Sean Cody there with trainers and the doctor Jim Taboni.
Bernard Riley does come in. He started the first 7 games last year, then tore a ligament in his right knee at Washington. So Boller on 2nd down. Right back to Igber, and Igber will not get the first down. It seems like Jeff Tedford will be ready to take it into the locker room at halftime, because USC will get the ball first in the second half.
That's right. Well, you know what I like? Finally, there was a team that won a coin toss and took the ball, and that was Cal on the opening coin toss. They won the toss. They said, we want the ball, and they marched right down and scored. That's how I'd want it. 3rd and 1 for Cal.
Igber will get the first down, but that will be the final play of the first half, as California has a 21-17 lead over USC. Into the locker room they go. A tremendous surge by California early with an 18-point lead. Fine comeback by USC. Stay with us. Our Nissan halftime report is next with Chris Rose.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Welcome to the Nissan halftime report. I'm Chris Rose, working alongside the Hall of Famer Kellen Winslow, the coach Artie Gigantino. We'll hear from those two gentlemen shortly. But first, guys, Oklahoma and Texas, it is the Red River Shootout. But would this be the day somebody finally tossed Chris Sims a life preserver? 0-2 against the Sooners. Got one last crack at him down in the Cotton Bowl.
Now, not every interception is the fault of the quarterback. Sims delivers the ball on point. It's just knocked up in the air. Great play by Oklahoma, but unfortunately it cost against Chris Sims.
Teddy Lehman's pick would lead to this. Nate Hibble to Will Peoples and Quentin Griffin right there. That's 6-4-3 if you're scoring at home. Oklahoma up 4, and then Griffin scoring the conventional way.
And the Sooners today rushed for over 250 yards. The Longhorn linebackers are lying too deep, and they were too stationary all day.
Another tough day for Chris Sims, but as for Griffin, a career-high 248. Remember, he opened the season with a 237-yard effort against Tulsa. But back to Sims, continues to struggle. He did score 2 touchdowns on the ground, but none through the air. So all told, 0-3 against the Sooners as a starter. No touchdown passes, 8 picks. He was also sacked 4 times today. Now, guys, obviously Chris Sims has been much maligned in this series. Let's move past that right now and say, what did Oklahoma do right?
Well, they ran the football. They kept it on the ground. They did what they needed to do. They got Quentin Griffin going on some of the same plays, that little draw play to him. He gets behind that big offensive line, and he makes things happen. Right now, Oklahoma did a great job, Artie, of out-scheming Texas on the defensive side. They could not find him.
Yeah, you know what? I tell you what, though. I think that Oklahoma did a sensational job today on defense. They held this high-powered Texas offense to 10 first downs, 209 yards, and they did a lot of different things in their run defense to stop Cedric Benson. And on the morning show, once again, I told you the Sooner defense would be the difference.
Who did you have, Kellen?
I picked Texas, and I was wrong. Yes. I'm sorry, man. I really am.
That's all right. A lot of people have been wrong about that. Hey, Bob Stoops, by the way, loves coaching in big games. 10-1 all-time against top 10 opponents. Well, you can catch either Texas or Oklahoma in action next week on Fox Sports Net. They get started with Nebraska and Okie State, then either Texas, Kansas State, or Seneca Walls and Iowa State taking on second-ranked Oklahoma. Still ahead, Florida State trying to flip the college football world upside down. For the 4th time in 11 years, Miami and Florida State comes down to one last kick. That highlight coming your way when the Nissan Halftime Report continues. Welcome back to the Nissan Halftime Report, where Cal's quarterback Kyle Boller has torched the USC defense for 124 yards and a touch. The Golden Bears with a 4-point lead at the half. Number 1 Miami, number 9 Florida State, and a great one. Second quarter in the red zone. Who do you look for? K2, Kellen Winslow Jr., 6 catches, 84 yards. Now the Canes were down 13 with 11.5 to go, but Ken Dorsey leads them back, handing off to Jason Gethard. Miami's up 1, but once again, this series comes down to a last-second field goal attempt. Xavier Badia. Give him some points for creativity. At least this one is wide left, unlike the other 3, which were wide right. And there were tears in his eyes. Not good ones. Miami has now won 28 in a row. And by the way, they're 7-0 in one-point games against Florida State. Ken Dorsey, a season high in passing yards, improves to 32-1. However, completed just 44% of his passes. Guys, Miami had 3 turnovers, 14 penalties. Everybody's saying, what's wrong with the number 1 team in the country? How about what is right with Florida State?
Yeah, you know, my hat's off to Florida State and the job that Bobby Bowden's crew did today. They came out, led by Greg Jones. They ran the football right at Miami for 296 yards. But once again, guys, and Kellen, the pass defense of the Seminoles let them down.
Yeah, they did. But let's give Miami a little bit of credit in the 4th quarter. They showed some leadership already there with Ken Dorsey taking control of the team on the field and off the field. And it was a character check, a gut check for them, and big time for them to win this ball game, Chris, under these conditions. They learned a lot about themselves today.
You were sweating this out.
Yes, I was. I was breathing hard.
It's time to be a father, once again. All right? It's okay. You can put the hat
I
on.
didn't want to mess up my hair. You know, I would do
What
that.
little there is left, you don't want to mess it up. I understand.
Color the rest in.
Hey, Miami, 28 straight wins. That's unbelievable. Hey, guys, Joe Igber. He can fly through the air with the greatest of ease. 43 yards on the ground and a touchdown. We've got more scores and highlights when the Nissan Halftime Report continues. Welcome back to the Nissan Halftime Report, where USC scored a touchdown right before halftime. They're down just 21-17 to Cal. NLCS Giants looking to go up 3-zip on St. Louis, but Eli Marrero with other ideas going deep in the 6th off of Jay Witasic. That was the game winner. And Cannon Kyle, the oldest son of the late Darryl Kyle, good to see this little kid smiling once again. Cardinals right back in this series. ALCS Game 4 underway. It's scoreless in the 2nd out at Edison Field. Hey, quick reminder, doubleheader action on Fox tomorrow. Get started with Game 5 of the Angels and Twins, a rematch of Game 1 starters, Apier and Mays. Then the Giants and Cards, Bennis and Hernandez in that one. All the action gets started at 4 o'clock Eastern. Still ahead, Casey Clausen, a no-go for Tennessee, but could the Vols pull off the major upset between the hedges? We'll see when the Nissan Halftime Report continues. Offense, you're loving our game. Cal and USC have combined for more than 400 yards of total offense and nearly 40 points in the first 30 minutes. Tennessee and Georgia, Casey Clausen out with that hairline fracture in his collarbone, a no-go for Tennessee, but David Green, all systems go. Finding Reggie Brown, he threw for 232. The Bulldogs were up 15-0, and when your quarterback's out, you got to do this.
You've got to have a little trickery. The tailback comes out, makes a nice throw, get it in any way you can. It steals 6 points.
Derek Tinsley to James Witten there. Now, Vols need a crucial stop with under 2 minutes to go. They don't get it. Tony Milton taking it outside. Dogs rushed for just 62 yards, but that was enough to improve to 6-0. They are the lone unbeaten in the SEC after their best start since 1982. But, guys, let's get back to our game, and we talked about it in the open of the show. Both offenses explosive here.
And Cal is very explosive. They like to get off to a quick start, Artie. Coming into this game, 142 points to 38 in the first half against their opponent.
And they're averaging over 40 a game. This game is far from over. I love the way those Boller and Palmer are attacking down the field.
That's spoken as a former defensive coordinator for both schools.
Yeah,
You like offense?
I like offense as long as I'm not coaching the defense.
I don't know you anymore. One big game in high school ball, De La Salle make it 130 consecutive wins. They beat Long Beach Poly. They haven't lost since 1991, and I'm sure that already had something to do with that loss. For those of you on the East Coast, the NFL show follows our game. Just ask Kareem Kelly of USC. Back out to Steve and Tom after a break. You've been watching the Nissan Halftime Report.
Pac-10 football on a college football Saturday. It's California 21, USC 17. We're getting ready for the third quarter. Steve Biziak along with Tom Ramsey. And Rams, we talked about both quarterbacks, Kyle Boller, Carson Palmer. They've done their jobs. They've had wonderful games. But what about the defenses? What must they do to slow down those QBs?
Steve, I think if you're the Cal defense, you got to find a way to lock down Mike Williams. Mike Williams right now has really been the go-to guy for the USC offense. And conversely, I think the USC defense right now, they got to find an answer for Joe Igber, who's actually had some success running the football. They'll continue to do so. And then LaShawn Ward, number 8 for Cal. You got to keep an eye on him because he is their deep threat.
What jumps out to you in the first half stats?
Well, the fact that Cal was 3 of 6 on third down conversions, and really right then they're 50% on third down. Everyone else is 15% against the USC defense. So they've done that. They've been able to get 200 yards in total offense, and I think, Steve, the turnovers balance each other out, but effectively it's what these teams do on their first drive of the third quarter.
And USC will get the football first. They had a stretch in the second quarter with 14 unanswered points. There was a Kareem Kelly touchdown that was really the momentum turner. A 3rd and goal play from the 6-yard line with Cal leading 21-3. Kelly's touchdown was not a touchdown. It was a trap.
But
So
it was a
would have
touchdown.
It was a touchdown, you're right, but it would have been 4th down. They would have kicked the field goal. It would have
Right.
made it 21-6, and the momentum may have swung back. But USC then, their defense holds. California's 3 and out, and USC takes it right down, scores another touchdown to make it 21-17, and that's where we are. And the Trojans get it first, up past the 31-yard line.
You talked of momentum a moment ago, Steve, and I believe Brother Momentum is a big factor for each first drive of the third quarter for each respective team.
Well, Carson Palmer was the leader, 178 yards, 2 early interceptions. One was not his fault on a tip, but then 2 great drives for the touchdowns that pulled the Trojans to within 4. And now he has it 1st and 10, looking downfield, completes it to Keary Colbert, and Colbert will gain about 7 yards. Marcus Daniels on the tackle.
You know, I guarantee you this, Steve. Pete Carroll got what he wanted before the half ended, and that was good effort, a couple good drives, and more importantly, points on the scoreboard. So it's close, 21-17. Offensively, Norm Chow said, hey guys, we got to be patient, execute the offense. There's holes in their defense. It's throw and catch, make them come up and make the tackle.
They call it a 6-yard gain, and now they will run. McCullough, who slams through and gets the first down up to the 45-yard line. And another injured USC lineman. It looks like Alex Holmes, the tight end, but he wants to stay in. You can see the FedEx Ground stats for Sultan McCullough. They've gone to the middle most of the time. 55 of his 56 yards have been attacking the interior of their defense.
Well, that'll tell you. Norm Katnick, the center, getting it done. Lenny Vandermeer, the left guard. I mean, it's going right over those 2 guys, and those are 2 of their better blockers.
McCullough remains the lone setback at the 45-yard line. And he is tripped up by the defensive tackle Josh Beckham, and still able to gain a couple of yards.
And Steve, watch this. We just talked about Lenny Vandermeer, the guard. Watch the left guard come after Marcus Daniels. This is a great effort, but they lock up on each other, and man, it is a scrum away from the ball once again. They are getting after it.
McCullough now 66 yards rushing, but only 3 yards per carry. Now on 2nd down and 7. They run Sultan again. Right now, this is the first time we've seen them use the run to set up the pass. Usually it's the pass setting up the run for USC.
Well, and they're playing some detached formations right now on offense, so they got some 3 wides. They're spreading Cal out. Cal wants to stay, they want you to stay bunched up. They want to play 9 guys in the box, just put 2 wideouts out wide. That way they can stop any threat of a run.
And I liked your question for Bob Gregory this week. You said, what does your defense Like you said, well, it's kind of like Oregon. You said, oh, it's that crazy Nick Aliotti stuff.
Well, affectionately.
It's designed to step the run.
That's right, affectionately.
And there's a first down grab by Kareem Kelly at the 41-yard line. Jemeel Powell already with 2 interceptions of the game on the tackle.
And Steve, one of the things, if you want to get pressure on the quarterback, you got to try to come up different areas, but it's great pass pro by the SC offensive line. They end up doing a nice job. Kind of slide to the left. They give Carson Palmer enough time and finds Kareem Kelly down the field. First down, Trojans. I'm liking Jemeel Powell, though, number 1, and some of the scouts at today's game, I was talking to them at the break there, they like him also.
Palmer right over the middle, Malifo McKenzie, and he darts forward and spins for the first down to the 30-yard line of California. Wendell Hunter on the tackle.
And Steve, on one of the earlier third downs of the game, you like Malifo McKenzie coming out of the backfield, but why not give it to him on first down? Look at that nice little throw and catch. Heck, he's averaging 14 yards a reception, 16 catches on the year. I mean, that's just good, easy. 17 catches on the year, pardon me.
Now he'll go sideline, and McCullough will be the lone setback. Keary Colbert and Mike Williams are the wide receivers, and they go right to McCullough. I'll tell you what, this is one of the rare times we've seen him really drive and attack the line of scrimmage. Even Sultan has been critical of himself, saying, you know, I'm fast, but I can use my speed better.
You know, I saw in one of the early draft boards, at early draft prospect boards, Sultan McCullough is way up there. He and Lee Suggs, the great running back out of Virginia Tech, they're 2 of the top guys. And Lee Suggs is a little different player, bigger, kind of a little niftier side to side. But Sultan McCullough, if he gets in the open field, he's gone.
Back to Sultan. Hey, you know what? He was stopped at the line of scrimmage and met his attacker and slid off of him for about a 3-yard gain. It'll make it 3rd and short.
Well, remember Sultan McCullough's brother, Saladin McCullough, who was so effective up at Oregon. And we talked about McCullough today, how he's climbing the ladder there. Chad Morton, Crutcher, the current athletic director and great former football player, Mike Garrett, Ricky Bell, AD, Anthony Davis. Remember his touchdowns against Notre Dame years ago?
Well, USC tailbacks won 15 of 19 conference rushing titles from 63 through 81. They have not run as well since. Now Palmer rips it, and Palmer gets his first down. Keary Colbert at the 17-yard line. You know, when you have a 3rd and short, what a difference it makes.
Well, 3rd and short, but what they end up doing, Steve, which is great, you know, Mike Williams is down here. He's going to end up going in, but he takes 2 guys, and then Keary Colbert's just going to come across, drag underneath. So you have a high-low. All of a sudden, you got guys in certain zones, in certain areas where you need them to be. You can pick up the first down.
Let's see if they go back to McCullough. They have on first down in this drive, and there's Sultan to the 15, the 10. He rips to the 5-yard line.
To the 5.
Well, they were trying to. McCullough was hoping to break free, but they just followed the big, young offensive tackle. Watch big Winston Justice come off, ends up just getting a seal. Long Beach Poly High graduate puts his guy on the ground. Sultan McCullough right off his hip, Steve, and able to bust up and get a couple extra yards. 1st and goal on the 5.
89 yards rushing for McCullough. Right back to him, big hole, and instead of going outside, he twisted back in, got to the 2-yard line, but I thought he might have been able to find the end zone if he sprints out.
You know, it's hard to say because it looks from our vantage point like you can get outside. Watch this, we'll slow it down, and you see how the pursuit's going this way. Now he wants to cut back, and you know, had he busted outside, Tom Canada, the defensive end, did a nice job turning him back in, but Canada was getting held.
He sure was by Alex Holmes.
And McCullough could have gotten outside on that, but that's a nice look of the play. 92 yards on the day for McCullough.
Now 2nd and goal from the 2. McCullough fighting, diving, touchdown, USC.
half the prognostication is answered here, Steve, because the first drive of the second half, SC put it together. Nice job. McCullough right up the middle. Nobody on the middle linebacker, Marcus Daniels, other than number 4. McCullough, and he takes the bait and runs right over him.
How about that offensive line of Katnick and Torres and Vandermeer and Justice and Eves doing the job, and USC has their first lead of this football game. Beautiful Southern California, where it never rains. Last time we had a game here against Oregon State, it rained for about 20 minutes, but a little cloudy today, sunshine, and right now USC gets taped, and USC kicking off with their first lead of the game. It is 24-21. Sean Cody will have to play, or rather, excuse me, USC will have to play the rest of this game defensively without one of their top defensive tackles, Sean Cody, out with a sprained left knee, out the rest of this game and possibly longer. Flag down as the ball was kicked out of bounds. And Cal will again have good field position to start their offense in the second half.
Kickoff out of bounds on the kicking team. Ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
And Steve, that's always important. Starting position on drives is always key.
You know what this shows me right here, the FedEx stats? Kyle Boller has worked the ball all over the field this entire year. 11 different players have scored touchdowns for Cal, and he's worked it to the wide guys, the tight ends, the running backs. This is an important drive to start the second half for Cal after they led earlier by 18 points. Igber, nothing. He will lose 2. There's the speed of the USC defense.
It's hard to run up the middle against USC. And even though Sean Cody's out of the ball game, Troy Polamalu didn't suit up for this game. You still got some beef. Bernard Riley, 93. Kenichi Adeze, 94. Patterson, 99. I mean, those guys right there, Steve, those 3 guys playing in front of 45. Mike Pollard, even though he's the leader of that defense, when you have great players in front of you, as a linebacker, it makes it awfully easy to tee it up and get after it.
USC brings 4. Boller with time now at a Rhodes, and he will scramble. Boller, it looked like he would get only 2, but he kept his feet and gains 8 on the play.
I just like Kyle Boller. Number 1, he's a great kid. He's got a lot of family here today. Before the game, how many people? Oh, tons. And boy, I tell you, they ought to be proud of him. Right there, he kind of does a little hippity hip, loses 1 tackler, and then Melvin Simmons with great speed finally tracks him down. But that's what makes Boller so dangerous. He can get out of the pocket, just like Palmer. Great athleticism. 3rd and 2.
3 touchdown runs by Kyle this year. Now 3rd down and 2 yards to go. Play action, Igber. Dumps it off Swodoba. Swodoba gets the tight end and more to midfield. There is a flag down, though.
Well, Pete Carroll saw the hold a long time ago, and Pete Carroll, it was funny because I saw him running up the sideline, Steve, chasing the referee. He was chasing the referee to throw the flag. And LaShawn Ward was the wide out on the wide side.
So instead of a 3rd down conversion on 3rd and 2, now you're way backed up, and I believe that USC is going to bring the Red Dog this time.
Holding. Offense. Penalties 10 yards. Spot of the foul. 8 3rd down.
It may have been the wide receiver, LaShawn Ward, number 8.
Well, LaShawn Ward's here. Pete Carroll is here. Watch Pete Carroll run down the sideline. This is great. Hey.
And really, there was no reason for him to hold it because Swodoba was going to get the first down.
Now, and I don't know if he saw Swodoba in the open space there. 3rd and 7 for Cal.
Blitz on from Rideau. The ball is tipped. It is caught by California, but shy of the first down. I believe 1 yard shy by LaShawn Ward.
What a great play, though, by LaShawn Ward. just watch the ball get batted here. Mike Pollard, number 45, is the one that gets his hand up, Steve. And then, hey, I tell you, you know how I feel about tip balls, man. Oh, I'm cringing for the offensive team because 90% of the time they get picked off. But LaShawn Ward has about a 40-inch vertical. Went ahead, got up, got it.
Tedford's talking about Ward's hole that kept him from converting that third down. And here's Carlson. And there's McGrath again, the guy that you have really enjoyed watching, the sophomore from Watsonville.
Well, you got to get great play on special teams, and McGrath is one of the gunners, so he goes down and puts the hammer on Carlson.
USC doing a much better job of solving that California potent offense that's averaged 41 points per game. This fall, get your NFL fix with the NFL pregame show. It's Michael Irvin, Tony Siragusa. He's the big guy, and there's the funny man coming in, Tommy Davidson. This week, the NFL show will take a look at Browns Pro Bowl linebacker Jameer Brown, and hip-hop group Jurassic 5 will be in the studio. We'll also take a look at the quarterback carousel in the league. Here we've seen a quarterback story involving Carson Palmer and Kyle Boller. Right now, Palmer with the edge, 16 of 29 passing for 208 yards and 2 touchdowns. And McCullough has been a big story to start the third quarter. His rushing, he is closing in on 100 yards rushing. That is 97 yards now when he had only 55 at halftime.
And I think part and parcel of this, Steve, is the formationing that SC's doing, because on first down there, spread offense, 3 wide outs. They spread Cal out, so you can't stack people in the box. Anytime you play detached formation, you got 3 wides up here now. There's three guys, 1 guy down.
And they dump it off to Mike Williams, and Williams up past the 30-yard line to the 33.
It becomes a numbers game. It's cat and mouse. It's a little, you know, let's play trips left, see what happens, and throw a little bubble screen. You got 2 lead blockers out in front. They don't get a hat on Burt Watts, the free safety, but that's okay. It's an easy throw and catch. Plus
6-yard gain.
Plus you get up the field. Yeah.
Now they'll send Kelly and Carlson to the right side. USC 6 for 11 converting third downs. That's outstanding. And they'll convert another one to Alex Holmes, who just muscles past Burt Watts, who does not let go of that ankle.
Boy, Alex Holmes, Steve, is just, he's a big cat now. He was almost 300 pounds a year ago. Watch him right here. He'll just go up, run a little stop, and it's kind of a nice little route. He's just playing right off the man over the top of him. Burt Watts, the free safety that time, who was matched up with him, and strength of the formation was the other side, so they put Watts, all 190 pounds, on a guy 270 pounds. That's okay.
Back to Sultan. Couldn't find the middle, breaks outside, and there goes McCullough for a first down and more to the 25-yard line.
Nice.
That's the old USC running game.
Nice running by Sultan. Watch him. He's going to come up and hit in here, and then he's going to break outside. Does a nice job. Hits, bang. And then all of a sudden, Donnie McCleskey, number 21, gets into chase position. Finally, Powell and Watts over there to make the, looks like 126 yards.
Yes,
okay.
I was trying to write you a note that said 126 yards. It was just kind of scribble.
I couldn't tell if it was a link to the
You've
run.
got young kids. I thought you'd be able to decode it. There's a flag all over the place.
Pretty good.
I think I write better than your children.
I thought Hammer wrote it, so when Hammer Time's writing stuff.
That is Brian Nettles, our stage manager. Our outstanding statistician is Jeff Chapman.
Before the play, dead ball. Offside contact on the defense. Penalty 5 yards. Remains first down.
It's Steve. I thought, and I meant to make this observation in the first half. I thought Cal was starting to jump on Carson Palmer's snap count. He's mixed it up. He's mixed up snap count. At one point in time, I thought Cal was taking advantage of a repetitive snap count of Palmer. I didn't say it, I just thought about it. because Cal was really getting a jump that time. Palmer drew him off sides.
So 1st and 5. He'll run the reverse. Williams sweeping the left side, now cutting back in, and he is cut down on a nice defensive play by California. Banta-Cain was there. Tully Banta-Cain came in with a great year a year ago.
Hey, Steve, they pulled this one out of Cal's playbook. Watch, he's going to get it here. Then he's going to come back around. And watch Carson Palmer right there. He's trying to get up the sideline, but he's covered. Our director, Doug Freeman, didn't see the free safety. Slide over the top and slide over to number 3, Palmer.
Doug just told us he should have thrown it earlier. McCullough, not much. The tackle was made by Josh Gustavson, the defensive end from Bluffdale, Utah.
I call those plays, you know, it's kind of a choice play. It's your choice whether you throw a touchdown or you throw an interception. So what do you think the head coach said? Remember, touchdown or intercept.
Choose wisely, young Jedi.
Okay, yeah. Don't throw it when you don't have it. All right, another 3rd down for USC.
3rd and 5. The drive started on the Trojan 27. Palmer has been excellent since the end of the 1st quarter. Now over the middle he goes, incomplete, intended for Grant Matos, his slot receiver. And it is 4th and 5.
And Steve, that time Cal brought pressure. Bob Gregory, the defensive coordinator, he maxed out that time. They had 4 wides. They covered them up, all single coverage, and then they brought an extra defender off the edge. Great pressure that time by Tom Canada, the defensive end, also got a hit on Carson Palmer.
Now Ryan Killeen from 38 yards out.
And this is where SC gets frightened. And for good reason.
He misses the field goal. Killeen missed the field goal. That would have sent it to another overtime in their loss last week to Washington State. He misses from 38 tonight. The kicking game. USC does have a 3-point lead. Killeen has been solid. Last week, USC's kicking game really hurt them against Washington State. A missed extra point, which meant a 4-point lead, Rams.
Steve, it's been their Achilles heel.
They barely made one. That struggled through then in overtime. Killeen did miss from 52, but Carson Palmer actually said he made the mistake because he took a sack that made it from 52. The field goal by Washington State was good from 35. Now Kyle Boller rips it to LaShawn Ward for a 1st down across the 40-yard line to the 42.
And Steve, Ryan Killeen, you see, missed 6 missed field goals this year. He's made some too, okay? He's made some.
But look what happened today. Florida State, UCLA missed.
Hey, you know what? Think about the pressure that the program, the big thing in the sky is under. And then if you microcosm individual players, the pressures on the Carson Palmers and then the kickers, the expectations are very high. But hey, when it comes down to 1-point games, you cringe.
Oh, that was a terrific play by USC. Darrell Rideau, who was their fastest defensive back, was right in the face of the Cal receivers. They had Ward and McConan both over on the left side.
Well, this game has lived up to its billing. Top offensive teams getting after it, and I'll tell you, SC defense has been stretched quite a bit. Now, granted, they're playing without their 2 best players in Troy Polamalu and defensive lineman Sean Cody. But what's interesting, Steve, they've hung in tough. They've created some plays. I think they're going to have to blitz a little more and get in Boller's face.
They're showing a 4-man rush. Now they're bringing the safety, and they'll run the football to Igber, and Cal has been able to do nothing rushing the football in the 2nd half.
And one of the things they just did, Steve, they blitzed. Matt Grudegood, the outside linebacker, comes off the edge, and I think this is what you got to do. He sneaks up, Grudegood comes down the line. These are the kinds of plays you got to make. Grudegood, big hit that time on Igber, and he's just chasing the play down the line of scrimmage. He always, his first responsibility is blitz, second contain, kind of simultaneously, but he makes a nice hit and causes a 3rd down and 10 for the Cal Bears.
Cal only has 2 first downs since leading 21-3. Hard rush on Boller, and he will be sacked at the 40-yard line. They came from the right side. They came from the middle. And the sack goes to Omar Nazel.
Omar Nazel, a nice rush off the edge that time, Steve. And he is such an effective speed rusher. Watch him, and he beats a big man, too. Number 63, Mark Wilson, 6'6", 300-pound junior, who may be Cal's best offensive line player. And I tell you, he made him look like he was on ice skates, just pushing him back.
Not much hang time allowing Carlson for his best return of his career, but a flag will go down.
I saw a clip, and the umpire, John Pemberton, is the one that throws the flag. And I got a story about Pemberton. You know, he used to rep the old days, man. Kennedy, Granada Hills, Ramsey, Elway, John Pemberton, the umpire.
Who won that big game, by the way?
Oh man, why do you got to go there? why do you? I'm trying to be entertaining for a TV audience, and you want to get me upset.
Would you please answer the question?
I have no recollection. Well, they won that year. They won the year I was speaking towards. They won.
Granite Hills High School.
Satisfied?
Well, not until you give me the final score.
Hey, you know what?
Hey, I love you, man.
Thanks.
But John Elway and Tom Ramsey had a great San Fernando Valley battle back in the late 70s.
Yeah.
Both went on to play in the Pac-10 Conference. And there's Pete Carroll, the USC coach on the left. Jeff Tedford, the Cal coach in his first year since coming over from Oregon. Offsetting penalties in the return. It looks like a holding call and a face mask grab. And they're talking with Carson Palmer now.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Personal foul, face mask on the kicking team during the kick. During the return, illegal block in the back on the receiving team. Both penalties are accepted. An offset, 4th down.
Wow, hey, there's a look at Carson Palmer, Steve, and you know, talking about Elway, just we'll wrap that up. On the career passing chart in the Pac-10, you know, I think I threw for over 6,000 yards, but John threw for 9,300 and some odd yards. Put him number 5, or put him number 1 at the time by a long way on the Pac-10 career chart for passing. And I thought to myself back in 1983, no one's ever going to touch that. I mean, that's a ton of yards. Well, and then, you know, Cade McDowd, Steve Stenstrom, they go over 10,000 yards. Passing, 10,000.
Carlson cut down, and again, USC will have strong field position near the 33-yard line. Hey, Carson Palmer, who's coming out now, has over 9,000 yards.
Yeah, and Palmer passed John Elway today. He passed that number. He passed the 9,300. Carson Palmer, number 3. He got 2 guys today. He got Eric Wilhelm and John Elway.
And I believe if you would have asked at the beginning of the season who are the top 3, no one would have guessed Jonathan Smith, the Fiesta Bowl MVP of Oregon State.
No.
5 feet 10 inches tall.
Eric Wilhelm too. I you know, no disrespect, but both those guys, you know, you look at the number of, well, Jonathan Smith won a lot of games.
Yeah.
Can't say that about Wilhelm. He didn't win as many games.
Beautiful throw by Carson Palmer for a first down to Keary Colbert.
Palmer on the run, so effective. But Steve, you get over 9,000 yards. You know, think about guys like Brett Favre. You know, I mean, look at this though. This is hard to defense. Okay, when you have a guy who's that mobile, who can sprint out of the pocket, no one's going to catch him. So now you stretch the defense. You know, if you can stretch it 50 yards wide and 100 yards deep, you're doing pretty good.
Colbert now 5 catches for 64 yards. But Palmer has been incredibly hot since the end of the first quarter. He started the game completing 5 of 6 passes. They say there's a fumble on the play, but I believe it was already down.
Jeremy Drake, number 26, the backup free safety, Steve, came up and really hit McCullough hard. And the ball may have come out once he hit the ground, but he hit him hard.
Well, that's the end of the third quarter with the score 24-21 USC over California. We are watching College Football Saturday presented by Kyocera on Fox Sports Net. Here is our Subway game summary. USC with a 24-21 lead. Cal led by 18 in the second quarter. We had a great showing by both quarterbacks, Palmer and Boller. But McCullough, 74 yards rushing in the third quarter alone. And now Keary Colbert with his 6th catch. And he is out of bounds near the 40-yard line of California.
Steve, Colbert has really just picked up where he left off a year ago. 34 catches, 442 yards, 2 touchdowns. But he's really come into his own this year. He's been the steady receiver that Carson Palmer needs in this offense, because you got a big play guy like Kareem Kelly, and now you have the emergence of another big play guy like Mike Williams. You got 3 quality guys that Palmer can spread the ball out to. There's a great use of cadence again.
Yep. And it looks like California may have jumped into that neutral zone. But how about this, Rams? Carson Palmer, remember when we said he threw 8 straight passes without completing one? Since that time, he is 12 of 15 for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns. Great efficiency.
Yep.
Offsides, defense in the neutral zone at the snap. Penalties 5 yards from the previous spot. Repeat first down.
Baseball, of course, on Fox. It's a magical matchup. First, it's Game 5 of the ALCS tomorrow between the Twins and Angels. Then it's Game 4 of the NLCS between the Cards and the Giants. It's all part of a full weekend of magical matchups as critical NFL games and dramatic baseball playoff action takes center stage on Fox.
Vargas.
He hasn't seen much playing time in this game.
Nope.
Well, McCullough's running so well.
No, but you know what Steve Sarkisian told me before the game, Steve? Justin Vargas, you see his numbers through the first 5 games, 102 yards, 2.8 average. He said he is a warrior and a great guy to have as part of the team. And, you know, Sultan McCullough is, and there's Steve Sarkisian right there to his left. Steve Sarkisian was the one wig-wagging the signals in. Justin Vargas, good look at him. And
does he look familiar? His father was Huggy Bear on Starsky and Hutch. Antonio Vargas. Now 2nd and 4. Palmer looking middle, throwing left. Alex Holmes, he's picking him apart right now. The offensive line is giving number 3 more time.
Yeah, and
he's seeing the receivers come open.
Well, you know what they do? They move the launch point, Steve, and they're able to include an extra blocker at the line of scrimmage. Then they drag Alex Holmes across. So then look at the touch.
And the defensive end had to cover the tight end.
Well, I mean, but look at the touch on the ball. You throw a nice, soft, catchable ball to a guy like Alex Holmes. Rumbling, stumbling, 280-pounder getting down the field. I mean, that's great play call. So now, once again, you got Norm Chow and his offense knocking on the door.
Chow showing blitz. Here they come. Picked up nicely. And Palmer goes right to Malifo McKenzie for a very short gain. But that's another completion. And Palmer has now completed 14 of his last 17 passes.
Hey, Steve, watch this, because here you have a tight formation here, okay? But watch the flower blossom, okay, once on the snap of the ball. Look at this. You think this isn't hard to cover? You got guys spread out all over the field. It's like a spray gun. It's like you out there watering your flowers. See, I can't water because I'm in Denver. We have water shortage. But you're out here living large, painting out.
We got a water shortage here. Here goes Sultan McCullough, and he rips past the 10-yard line. He still needs another 2 for a first down. They need to get to the 5-yard line for a first down. But McCullough is now over 130 yards rushing in the game, 137 on 29 carries. That's the old tailback U type numbers. 1981, USC has won 2 rushing titles, none since '89, and they played in the Rose Bowl only 5 of the past 20 years, and 1 in the past 12. They need a win here to stay Rose Bowl eligible because Oregon and Washington State are so strong. Here's Alex Holmes. Look at what it takes to bring him down, and he gets the first down past the 5-yard line.
Oh, he's a big guy to bring down. He was lined up in the backfield too, Steve.
He looked like John Mackey.
Watch. 13 has responsibility. for 81. Comes up. Oh, he's there, and he didn't. Man, he had him teed up. He had a leverage point on him, and he flat out misses it. Watch, Calvin Hosey. He had him. He didn't get his head in front of him, Steve. He had his head on the backside of big number 81, left him in the dirt.
Now first and goal, and USC piling up. McCullough trying the middle. Slammed down near the 2-yard line. The tackle by Tom Canada and Lorenzo Alexander.
You know, football is like any other sport. It's like tennis. It's like golf. It's like baseball. Fundamentals.
I'm not playing golf with you because I don't want these kind of collisions.
No, we just had C.T. Steckel in the box. New hire at Fox Sports, son of Les Steckel, my old coach. And I'm telling you, C.T.'s got to stick with him. Second goal, you'd expect them to run the football here. Just to prove a point.
They do. McCullough cannot prove the point this time. Down he goes near the 2-yard line. And again, it was Canada and Alexander.
And I think Bob Gregory, the defensive coordinator for Cal, said, I think I know what they're going to do. I'm going to slam 9 guys in the box, and they're going to have to go up and over. Nice play at the point of attack by Cal. And I'll tell you, Lorenzo Alexander, number 76 right there, the true sophomore, Steve. He played a lot as a true freshman, and he's one of these guys that, you know, you could build a defense around. From Berkeley, local product for the Cal Bears.
Williams goes motion, left, now back right. They look for Mike Williams. Palmer in trouble. And he is cut down to the 15 on a shoestring tackle by Tom Canada. This is one time where USC can say, blame Canada.
And you know what? Absolutely huge play by Tom Canada. Watch Carson Palmer. I've talked about his mobility, but watch Tom Canada. You talk about laying out. What is this game about? Inches. That's what it's about.
Another chance for Killeen, but again, it makes it a touchdown game for Cal to come back. A 32-yard attempt. That is good by Ryan Killeen, and USC has their biggest lead of the night at 6 points. 27-21, USC over Cal. The Golden Bears needed a big defensive stand, and they just got one.
Steve, they got it coming off the edge. Calvin Hosey, number 13, and company. They had a lot of guys. Lorenzo Alexander making that play. And then Tom Canada, watch, he gets held, he gets back up, he jumps, and then a shoestring tackle. And that's a huge hold. Defensive stand by the Cal Bears and really forcing SC into a field goal there. And so you come away with 3. The USC scoring drive presented by Nissan. 12 plays, 52 yards.
Killeen's kickoffs have been short. This one will be deep to the goal line. Rashawn Ward to the 21-yard line, but now Cal's offense must pick up since taking a 21-3 lead with 11:42 to go in the second quarter. Cal has only 3 first downs, Rams, and 51 yards total offense.
Well, they started off like gangbusters, didn't they? Look at Josh Beckham there. Big defensive tackle for the Bears. And you know, Steve, you said it. I mean, it's SC that really stepped up defensively, but right now, all you ever hope for is opportunity. You think Jeff Tedford went over there and said, hey guys, can I remind you of competitive greatness of my talk last night I gave you? And I think right now it's up to number 7 to step up.
They give it to Igber, and Igber doesn't get much, maybe a yard or 2 to the 23-yard line. Time winding down, 9:40 showing on the clock, but Tedford needs Boller to make plays, much like the quarterback he coached last year, Joey Harrington, captain comeback of the Ducks.
Well, and Steve, you got to remain patient. You just have to. You got to call the play. You got to execute the play called. And Jeff Tedford has, you know, reams of material to go by because they did have a lot of comebacks. They know how to go down the field.
Boller. Incomplete. He was looking for Jonathan McConan, and this is an important third down here.
And for the first time, Cal looked unsure of themselves right there. They didn't look like they're firing on all cylinders. And I think their offensive line, Steve, right now, it's up to the offensive line to protect Boller, because Boller can get he can get it down the field, he can get it done. This third down becomes very imperative because of field position. So 3rd and 7 facing the Cal Bears.
They need protection because USC will be coming. They're showing a 4-man rush. And the linebacker will come from the middle. Boller rips it. And it was a first down drop by LaShawn Ward. The senior from Pasadena Muir High School had it. It would have been a first down. Instead, 3 and out.
Well, they end up running a stop route. He gets the first down, and he's going to come up, and he's going to sit down. Bang. First down, right? Wrong.
Catch the football, run second.
Concentration, man.
You know what happens? All of a sudden, doubt creeps into California's offense when they've been held down by USC's defense, which has shown why they came in 4th ranked in the nation. And look at this. USC will have excellent field position starting at their own 42. 33 yards on the punt. Timeout on the field. Kyle Boller still has time, but needs that football. (27-21), number 20, USC with the lead. This fall, get your NFL fix a day earlier. The NFL Show with Michael Irvin, Tony Siragusa, and comedian Tommy Davidson. This week, they take a look at Chargers running back LaDainian Tomlinson and his off time. And Tony, well, it's a really chat with Tony Sixpack. He's 15-3 with his picks this year. That is tonight and tomorrow. Here we go. Sultan McCullough. Ripped down by Lorenzo Alexander, the defensive tackle, with help from Marcus Daniels.
And Steve, do you want to know why they continue to run the football? Look at the Cal numbers in the second stanza there. Only 42 yards in the second half and 45 plays run overall in the game, 75 by SC. But Steve, the reason they're running the football? Keep the ball out of Kyle Boller's hands. Continue to run the ball, chew the clock. SC came in this week number 1 in time of possession in the Pac-10 with 34 minutes plus, and those are big numbers.
They'll run McCullough to the right, and again, the left side of that defense is there. It is Wendell Hunter, it is Calvin Hosey, right around the running back. Our accurate trivia question: what was the name of the California player who ran nearly 70 yards the wrong way in the 1929 Rose Bowl?
I know that one.
Yeah, that was awesome.
You want me to give it now, or you
No,
wait?
we want the fans to think about
We
it.
can't give it too much time because people can go on the internet, go to foxsports.com and find information like that.
No, I can't. I am.
And then you can see the articles I wrote.
I know, I read those. Over the middle, McKenzie, first down to the 45-yard line. Once again, Palmer's getting time.
Hey, you know what's nice? This is an easy throw and catch. You know, and Carson Palmer, it gets protection, Steve, and more importantly, watch McKenzie. I believe he comes from over here, just a little, comes out, little underneath, little high-low. They just have a nice little pattern that just gives you a little man beater, zone beater. They got man, all of a sudden, first down.
And you know what I like Norm Chow did? He got McKenzie in the backfield with McCullough. He's got McKenzie the fullback. McKenzie is just so
well, and Bob Gregory told us this. Norm Chow loves the formation people and interchange personnel. So now all of a sudden you got 2 backs, you got McKenzie, you got McCullough, then you got 3 wides, you got Williams, Kareem Kelly, Keary Colbert. You got to stay on top of the personnel. You're interchanging people because that's the toughest part. They're lining up all over the field.
There's Norm right behind the post. He's hiding from us again.
No, he's not hiding. He's always available. And Norm Chow does a great job. I tell you, you know, he's so funny. He has, I don't want to say he's seen it all, but let's just say he's seen a lot.
Yes, he has. And he is so delightful to work with, so honest when we talk to him on Fridays, and he loves this kid, Carson Palmer. He said, you know, Carson was so used to getting beat up that he almost got a little timid, and I told him, go play. He's got great stuff. That's a great throw to Alex Holmes, and Holmes busting forward near a first down.
You know, Alex Holmes is such an effective target, Steve. I mean, he comes out, you know, he gets a block first, and then Paul Ugenti, number 33, that's a mismatch. You know, you got a small linebacker against a huge tight end, and a guy who's very good at catching the football. Alex Holmes, 6'3", 200. Well, he's more than 265. Trust me.
Okay, stop it.
Yeah, so he had a couple snacks. That's all right. They got that nice training table right outside Heritage Hall over here on campus.
You know, Alex did come to USC weighing 305 pounds. They said he lost 40. Now, this is what Pete Carroll said. Pete Carroll's honest, so that would be down to 265.
Yeah, but, okay.
Weight Watchers. I'm telling you, it'll work for you, Tom.
I need to gain weight. Are you kidding me? God, the wind comes up, and I got to tie weights to my ankles.
Well,
Steve Sarkisian again. Quarterback guru extraordinaire.
And he was a quarterback for Norm Chow at BYU.
Yes, he was. Kennedy Pola, running backs coach. Right next to him.
Palmer has just been right on, though, Ram. Since that 0 for 8 stretch, he has completed 18 of 21 passes for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns. He has led this team from being down 21-3 to up 27-21. 3rd and a short 1. They spread him out. And Palmer will go with the quarterback sneak, and I believe he has it. Now they'll push him back. Alexander grabbing his shoulders and pulling him back, but you can see where the linesman came in and said, nope, marks up here, first down.
And Steve, that's a big conversion. At this point in the game, you know, 4th quarter, 5:39 left. You get that first down. Now, the clock becomes the enemy for Jeff Tedford and the Cal Bears. He's looking at that clock as much as we are, and as it's ticking down, this is when you need your defense step up, make a stop, keep SC out of field goal range. If they hold them here, they've accomplished that.
The Rams, you always tell me, move the chains. Cal has only 1 first down in the second half. USC has 13. Malifo McKenzie to the 32-yard line. But let's answer that trivia question.
WRR.
What was the name of the California player who ran nearly 70 yards? Wrong
W.
Regals.
Wrong. Roy. I think it was Ray.
Roy.
Roy. Yeah, there you go.
Wrong, but they nicknamed him Wrong Way Regals. Georgia Tech scored a safety on the next play and won the game 8-7. Can you imagine if that would have happened today with the media coverage we have, and it was being nationally televised on Fox Sports Net? We'd go crazy.
I was thinking of Billy Ray for a reason. Our producer's cousin from Arkansas.
There goes McCullough, and McCullough very close to another first down.
Great linebacker Billy Ray Smith out of Arkansas too now. Anyhow, okay, here we
run the ball. I mean, we talked about Palmer passing, but this is the kid who's opened it up. Opened it up for Palmer. McCullough, 149 yards rushing.
Right now, if I'm nervous if I'm Jeff Tedford. I'm nervous. Pete Carroll's nervous too, trust me. But I'm nervous because I don't have the ball back in my hands.
You know what they need? The same thing they've needed to win 4 football games this year. Turnovers. As you said, Rams, they are plus 13 this year coming into this ball game, and yet they haven't had a turnover since the first quarter.
Yeah, it's been some time. They didn't get one in the second quarter. I thought they got one in the second quarter.
You might be right.
I thought Jemeel Powell
got early in the first half.
He had 2 picks. Yeah, he got 2 picks in today's game. 3rd and inches. Okay, play of the game right here. How's that? Play of the game. Because if they convert this, they can continue to run the clock. If they don't convert it, you got to bring on the field goal team, and that's always going to be an adventure for SC.
Will Palmer sneak again? Yes. And the surge forward should get him the first down. Boy, he went right over Norm Katnick, and the junior from Foothill, California, just lowered into Beckham and Wangwu and knocked him back.
Well, you talk about ball control, you talk about game management. Carson Palmer has really done a nice job. Where he was maybe a little reckless early in that first quarter, he was misfiring. You know, I mean, and they had some, you know, one of the interceptions was attributed to the receiver backing into the route. He didn't come back to the football. But, Steve, this entire second half, from the time they received the opening kickoff in the third quarter, they've played great offense, very timely defense, and right now they're milking the clock.
McCullough's 36th carry. That is the career best. The other story, when you take a look at Carson Palmer, when we talked to Norm Chow yesterday, he said Carson is not a run-and-shoot quarterback.
No.
He's a guy that once he gets in a rhythm can be as good as there is in college football. And Rams, he's been in an unbelievable rhythm since the end of the first quarter.
Oh, yeah. And I'm telling you, Boller and Palmer, these guys are, you know, I mean, go back and think about Elway at Stanford in college. I mean, these are the guys I get to compare these guys to, because these guys are going to have, I mean, miraculous pro careers. I mean, they're going to go on and do lots of great things, because this conference, Steve, prepares you for the things that happen at the next level. You get a lot of defenses. You get a ton of stuff to look at from a quarterback's perspective.
Well, the Pac-10 not only strong in football, but they may have the #1 team in America in basketball. And they had Midnight Madness. There's Bill Walton's son, Luke Walton. And the Best Damn Sports Show cheerleaders were there. There's Jason Gardner, great point guard with Luke Walton, and Tom Arnold from the Best Damn Sports Show period. He was there at midnight. I thought his bedtime was 11:30.
What was, I don't want to say, was that
Tournament
was
tickets, you can get them, Rams. Men's tournament March 13th through 15th. Women's tournament March 7th through 10th in San Jose, the Staples Center. We had an absolutely electric show last year. The games will be on Fox Sports Net, but get your tickets, because there were some fabulous games at Staples Center last year.
And the women's tournament as well, March 7th to 10th. And you know, Steve, I just hope Tom Arnold isn't in the three-point shooting contest at either of those events. Or the layup contest, for that matter.
There you go. McCullough. Did he fumble the football?
He did. And they recovered. No. Oh, my goodness.
And Cal recovers the football. Maybe this is the turnover that Jeff Tedford needed. But Pete Carroll beside himself on the 37th carry by Sultan McCullough. He drops it, and Cal still has a chance.
You know, honestly, I can't believe it. And if you're Pete Carroll, you can't believe it. Nnamdi Asomugha, watch, he's right here. He ends up keeping contained. And see what happens, because the ball comes out there. Burt Watts, and I couldn't see who actually hit him, and then someone had dove over the pile, and Nnamdi Asomugha was the one that got it.
We'll be right back with the final 3:23. USC with a 6-point lead, but Cal gets the ball back on a strip by Tom Spurchek.
Well, big number 72, Spurchek, comes by, punches the ball out, Steve. Ball's on the ground right now. Ball's on the ground. Wendell Hunter, number 40's there to try to get it. Nnamdi Asomugha is the one that comes up with it. The senior, what a huge play that is.
Ward and McConan for California on the right side. Boller ripping it. It is intercepted. USC picks it off. Jason Leach, who had to replace the All-American Troy Polamalu, and this could put the game in the deep freeze.
What a play by Jason Leach, Steve, and it's almost apropos in a way if you're a fan of the Trojans. Boller fires one, but watch, it hits a helmet. It hits a pad or a helmet, trying to get the ball to McConan, and then Jason Leach, you said it, he's playing in place at Troy Polamalu. Oh, wow. Oh, that could be interference. Mike Pollard was a middle linebacker. He drilled the receiver. Wow. Interesting play.
So USC has it, leading by 6. They get it right back to McCullough, the man who fumbled the football, and he breaks free. He's past the 20, and McCullough is inside the 10-yard line.
Momentum is everything in football, Steve, and you see a sudden change, a sudden shift, and all of a sudden SC's playing downhill football, and Sultan McCullough gets shot out of a cannon, rushing for 174 yards today, career high 38 carries. Boy, he's trying to vindicate himself after that fumble, and you see Kyle Boller.
USC with 3 timeouts left. Cal only has 2. They had their opportunity, could not take advantage. And now Palmer back to the ground. McCullough cut down by Nnamdi Asomugha. You know, valiant effort by California, but when you consider USC tightening the screws, you talked about that in the last 3 quarters. Pete Carroll, we saw what a defensive wizard he was in the NFL, and he's done the same at USC, trying to bring them back to be a power again. College football Saturday. You are looking live at the city of Los Angeles, California. We're nearby at the LA Memorial Coliseum. It looks like Asomugha having trouble with a contact lens.
Boy, those city lights are nice.
Well, here we are at the LA Memorial Coliseum, the number 20 team in the nation. USC very likely to move up if they win this game over California. See Physiot.com Ramsey with you. And Carson Palmer, what a terrific game he has had. He has had only 3 incompletions. He was 18 of 21 after going 8 straight passes without completing a ball in that first quarter.
And Steve, more importantly, what I saw in Carson Palmer today and Kyle Boller, besides great attributes of playing the position of quarterback, both of them showed tremendous leadership. Tremendous leadership, you know, leading their teams in difficult circumstances, and Palmer rebounding from a you know, not a good start. I was going to say awful, but it wasn't awful, but it was not a good one. And you know, the measurables for Carson Palmer, a lot of them people say, hey, wins and losses, and of course at the end of the day it's always going to be the W, but this guy's a great player with a bright future.
Let's see if he gives it back to McCullough, who has tied his career best with 176 yards. But McCullough now out of the game, and they went with Malaifa McKenzie, and McKenzie leaned forward, and there likely will be a flag.
Second down.
Well, and this is what, you know what, if you're SC, you don't want to jump. You don't want to move, and McKenzie's the guy who ends up, he knows it, he takes a step or 2. And this is a guy who's been in the program forever, Steve. You can't make a mental mistake like that.
Not too many in the last 3 quarters by USC. The Trojans trying to get to their first Rose Bowl in 7 years. Last time they made it, January of 1996. And USC has to battle through the toughest schedule in college football this year. 10 of the 12 teams they're playing. There goes McKenzie inside the 10-yard line. But 10 of the 12 teams they will play this year are either ranked or have been ranked in the top 25. Unbelievable schedule.
Yeah, but I think that's an advantage, and I really believe it, because you're playing the best, and you're going to get vaulted up. You're going to get vaulted up the rankings.
So Miami playing Temple and UConn and Rutgers and Florida A&M, that's not going to help them? Miami's got 4 gimmies. I think USC, when you play in the Pac-10 conference, it is tough enough.
No, I'm talking about SC playing a tough schedule. I'm not talking about Miami playing the Temples and the Rutgers and those people, because, well, they're meaningless. You know, I mean, but they end up becoming W's. Yes.
Rams College Football Saturday presented by Kyocera returns to Fox Sports Net next week with a Big 12 doubleheader. First, Nebraska takes on Oklahoma State. Then either number 3 Texas battles number 19 Kansas State, or the 11th ranked Iowa State Cyclones square off against number 2 Oklahoma. Coverage begins next Saturday with the College Football Saturday kickoff show at 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific, right here on Fox Sports Net. Well, a few of those teams had wins. Oklahoma, they upset Texas, and Kansas State got a win. Hey, how about Oklahoma and Texas? Oklahoma doesn't have their starting quarterback, Jason White, and that what it was Quentin Griffin with for 238 today. What a great player.
And Steve, I'm telling you what, right now, Cal still got opportunity. 2:35 left, 3rd and goal. You stop them here. You stop them here. They got to essentially bring on their field goal unit. And that's an adventure. They've had PAT kicks blocked, they've had a miss, they've had all, field goals missed and blocked, all kinds of things happen to them.
They're running the ball. It's McKenzie to the 1.
If I'm SC, I run it. I run it here. I try to stick it in the end zone and put him away.
But if you get the field goal, the game's over.
And if you get a blocked field goal and they take it to the house, guess what? Oh, I guarantee you Pete Carroll's thinking about it.
It is 4th and goal at the 1-yard line.
I would, I'd run it. I would not bring on my unit. I
think you got to have confidence in Killeen. I mean, here's a guy who won a practice this week on Thursday, the final play of practice. Pete Carroll said,
I'm different. That's all.
He said everybody put him on their shoulders.
I'd do it to make a point, to put an exclamation point on the victory that you hope to get. They're going to call timeout. I guarantee they're going to talk about
timeout. Well, I know you're absolutely right. With the struggles they've had in the kicking game this year, I'm sure Pete Carroll looked down and goes, well, you know what, Chris Griffith of UCLA missed a field goal. That cost him a victory.
All over the
Florida
country.
State losing to Miami.
Versus Colorado, PAT kick blocked. 38-yard field goal blocked. PAT kick missed. Against Kansas State, PAT kick blocked. Returned for a defensive 2-point play for the defense. 30-yard field goal missed. Against Oregon State, PAT pass failed. 40-yard field goal missed. Wazoo, they missed a field goal. A PAT kicked missed and a 52-yarder missed. But they've had mishaps. And you know what? When you have mishaps, hey man, center quarterback exchange, have the 6'6" Carson Palmer lean over, and even if you don't get it, make Cal go 99 yards and 2 feet, because if you don't score, it's going to be inside the 1-yarder.
If it's good, it's over.
Yeah, but if it's bad, it might be over.
Oh, the decisions a head coach must make. Ryan Killeen. Up and good.
Okay, you convinced
all
me.
That discussion a moot point. A terrific comeback by the University of Southern California. At one time, they were down 21-3. Now they have a 9-point lead over California with 1:41 to go.
27 unanswered points.
Our Kyocera player of the game, Sultan McCullough.
Steven, here's a guy who's, he's been maligned some because he's been hot and cold. He's a rhythm player, just like Carson Palmer right there. He kicks it outside, bounces it off the tackler, the would-be tackler, gets up the sideline for an extra 30. But McCullough has that game-breaking speed. 39 carries, career high, 176 yards, career high. He almost got in the end zone a moment ago, but
Rams, I believe that's what's missing from them being a top 10 team.
What's that?
The running game. They haven't had it this year, and now they get it in this game against California. If they continue to get this success with the run game, with Carson Palmer's ability, they can make it to the Rose Bowl for the first time since '96.
Well, you got to have the right mix of players and leaders and defenders and guys all across the board. You need Polamalu back. You need Sean Cody. I don't know what the end-all result of those injuries are, but those are to be determined.
Okay, the next 2 weeks for USC is going to tell a lot, because they will host Washington, and then they must go to Oregon, where USC has had a tough time winning football games recently.
Well, SC has that tough schedule because they had to play Washington State up at Pullman last week, came away with a loss. They got to go up to Eugene. I mean, those are the 2 hardest places to play, and not easy games at all.
Boller stepping up, throwing it away, through to good, right in the vicinity of Jonathan McConan. The executive producer of Fox Sports Net is Bill Borson. The coordinating producers of College Football Saturday are Roy Hamilton and the great Gary Garcia, who has joined us in the booth. Today's game was produced by Dennis Kirkpatrick and directed by Doug Freeman. The College Football Saturday studio show was produced by Loy Maxson and directed by Joe Woitis. Senior Vice President of Field Operations is Andrea Berry. Director of Field Operations is Debbie Kilmartin. Kyle Boller only 81 yards passing and only 75 yards passing since the first quarter. He had 81 in the first, and there's a nice grab by Vincent Strang.
That was a good pass and catch there, Steve. And you know, if they get one on the board, you know, you'd have to score in the next 30 seconds, but hey, never say never, because
onside kick.
And remember this, Cal's got a great field goal kicker. Even though they have no timeouts, Mark Jensen's a senior. He can deliver it from long range.
And there's LaShawn Ward getting out of bounds. Remember, no timeouts, so you'll see a lot of passes towards the sideline. Clock will stop on a first down. How about that? 7 teams now with 1 loss in this conference.
Well, that'll tell you alone how competitive the Pac-10 is. And you know, there is not one gimme. I mean, Washington barely got by the Arizona Wildcats this afternoon. Where, you know, my question to you right now, Steve, where's Jonathan McConan been?
He's been quiet. He was the guy that was interfered with, no call. And this time intended for Vincent Strang. But right there was William Buchanan.
You know, if there's a hole right now in this Trojan defense, it's right down the middle of the field. Okay, what they got to do, and that's what happened on the interception. They tried to get the ball down the middle of the field, but Mike Pollard walled McConan off and created the interception. But they got to get right down in the heart of the defense. And a lot of times teams with no timeouts left don't want to do that, but you want to end up back in here.
3rd down and 6. McConan would have had the first down, but the pass too tall.
Too hot. That was hot. They got to go for it here. Jeff Tedford says, don't even think about coming off the field. We'll get a first down.
You know, some people might say this game is over, but this is the 20th anniversary of the play when Cal
Pretty cool.
beat Stanford.
Kevin Moen.
It's never over with California.
Kevin Moen was a defensive back from the Cal Bears that ran over the tuba play.
We need tubas and trombones on the field for California to find success. 4th and 6. Catch is made. LaShawn Ward breaks free and has a first down at the 28-yard line. And the Bears still believe.
This is a game, Steve. LaShawn Ward, you got to get him the ball again. Get him the ball right now. He's your game breaker. He is your game breaker. He almost broke that one. Once he caught the ball, did a great job coming down with the catch.
4-man rush. Boller rips it and completes it to Vincent Strang, who then is knocked out of bounds by Marcel Allman.
How do you keep the clock running if you're the side judge and the player gets blown out of bounds? What? Yeah.
No, it stopped at 50.
No. They're stopping it for the chains, but the side judge wound his arm. So you just, if you're Kyle Boller, get your players on the line of scrimmage. You got to snap the ball right when they put the ball ready for play. Bang.
Boller rips it right. Catch is made. LaShawn Ward out of bounds, 6-yard line. 39 seconds left.
Well, they're doing, you know what? This is a great football game. A lot of offense. Kyle Boller, I'm impressed with him too, Steve. Just the same. Great leadership. Converted 4th down play. You know, number 8 right now is your go-to guy. He's got the hot hand. Mike Williams had the hot hand for USC earlier in the game. Then Sultan McCullough got hot. They rode him hard, and he performed well. Got them the lead, 27 unanswered points. But right now, Cal Bears have an opportunity. You can't waste time. You got to get it in the end zone right now.
From the 5-yard line, 1st and goal. Ward to the right. Over the middle, it is a touchdown to Swodoba, but wait a second, there is a flag down.
I thought the Trojans jumped. Therefore, the play will be good.
What about the right tackle for Cal? Did he move early?
I didn't see him.
Offsides, defense.
It is a touchdown.
Touchdown.
Tom Swodoba.
Well, Tom Swodoba is the 2nd happiest player on the Cal Bears beyond Kyle Boller. He had 0 career touchdown passes coming into this year. He's got 4 now in his career. He's got 4 this year. And it's because of Jeff Tedford. They believe in the tight end. They utilize the tight end. And that guy right there, Kyle Boller, puts the ball where it needs to. And you know what, Steve? All you do is ask, your opportunities. And you're going to get an extra point. Field goal could win it.
Within one.
One company brings new value to the way we communicate.
California within one score of winning this game. They need the onside kick, but just a great drive by Kyle Boller, and USC talking defense. This is the third great game in the Pac-10 conference today. Washington beat Arizona late 32-28, and Oregon held off UCLA 31-30. Here it is a 2-point game, and Cal, well, they need Mr. Jensen to lay down a beautiful onside kick for the Golden Bears to have a chance, because Cal without a timeout left.
And Steve, this is all you hope for. As football players, you want opportunities to win games, and when it comes down to the final 30-odd seconds for a game, that's what you live for.
It is ripped, and it is recovered by USC. Matt Grudegood, the good hands guy there, was a quarterback at Mater Dei High School, and he's the guy who got that football and just laid down.
Well, Grudegood just makes a great play, Steve. A linebacker with great hands. Those guys are hard to come by. Grudegood right there. And I'm surprised that Cal didn't force it. And I mean, you see a lot of teams now, they'll line up some big people, and they'll go and try to crush that front line, and then they send in the fast guys, the finesse guys behind and I'm talking about the kicking team. They put, like, a couple 280-pounders, they knock people out of the way, and then they can recover the ball. They got a chance. Cal had the chance.
Well, this is a big win for USC. They would go to 4-2, and USC has won their last 6 home games and have posted shutouts in 2 of their last 4. Pete Carroll's defense doing the job against California after being down by 18 points.
Big win for Pete Carroll and the Trojans.
California, meantime, will fall to 4-3 after a remarkable win over Washington last week. 30-28, the final score as USC beats Cal.